It is time. For fuck's sake. There we go. What's up, Peony? It is time for lesbians. Yeah. I don't think you were here last Friday. Shit, okay, what happened? Lesbians, indeed. Okay. I believe it's been about a week or so time skip since the last stream you saw. No, I've seen pizza. What's your bitch? Very pog. So yeah, it's been about a week since you last saw. Again, sorry. They went to a church. They got caught in a snowstorm. And they saw a fucking giant forest spirit. It's real. And they fucking saw it. And that's where chapter 1 ended. This is them returning to the cabin after seeing that shit. I don't say a word on the way back to the cabin, or can I? How do I vocalize the knowledge that your core understanding of the world just turned out to be wrong? It feels like the ground underneath my feet dropped out from under me. My steps are unsteady and I feel nausea coming up like waves. My head pounds hard. I've always prided myself on my healthy skepticism, but I can't deny what's right in front of me. I fought scramble to find some way to explain it, some way that I can piece it together in a way that I can understand. But it's hopeless. Tara is still struck mute. I expect her to be bouncing off the walls, to be unable to calm down. After all, this is what she's been after for years, ever since we started the show, ever since she had the idea for the show. Now that we've finally actually found something, neither of us know how to react. She keeps playing the short clip she recorded over and over again, watching it until the battery runs dry. A lot of it is unusable due to the snow in her shaky hands. There are still a few seconds of clear, uninterrupted footage. Her ratings are going to be off the charts. We're going to have to prepare for endless barrage of questions and accusations of doctoring the footage. This will mean interviews, national news, maybe even a book deal. Nothing will ever be the same again. But all we can manage is silence. Morgan's the only one who seems somewhat calm, though even she's a bit shaken. She's the one who coaxed us to leave the church and start heading back to town. It's the obvious thing to do, yet somehow the suggestion sounds like a crazy idea that I would have never come up with myself. All of my thoughts are mush. If it weren't for Morgan, I'm sure Tara and I would both end up wandering the woods in total shock. I could barely manage a slow stumble as I follow from way back behind. Thick, fresh snow impedes the path. The blizzard subsided. The harsh winds bite at my exposed skin. It all feels like too much.
Maddie, are you okay?
It takes me a few seconds to even register her voice, and a few more to realize she's looking back at me with genuine concern.
Yeah, I'm fine.
My brain screams to ask for help. My body feels moments away from collapsing. What kind of help could she give me? I can only focus on reaching our destination. Morgan looked like she wants to respond, but instead resumes her trek forward, this time moving at a somewhat slower pace. After a while, the faintest light in the distance comes into view, the cabin. Our light, our refuge in the darkness. Tara's pace quickens to a near sprint, like she has been waiting for this moment. She rushes across the distance, disappearing inside. Morgan walks alongside me. She opens the door, following inside behind me. I feel a sudden pang of guilt over how much I've disregarded her before now. Especially since she was actually right. As soon as I reach the couch, my legs give out from under me, and I fall onto it like a ton of bricks. It isn't until I hit the cushion that I realize I nearly crushed Tara, who was already collapsed next to me.
Sorry.
She doesn't say anything. She may not have noticed. I thought that getting back to the cabin in safety would renew her enthusiasm, She should be running circles around me, screaming, "I told you so." Everything about her whole existence has just been validated. But she's just looking down at the ground without saying anything, her bangs obscuring her eyes, making her face unreadable. Her chest rises and falls in an odd rhythm. Then I realized that, just like me, she's still trembling. The monster silhouette flashes from my head again, huge and terrifying, the red light shining down on the very center of my being.
Here, this will help.
She sets 2 glasses of water down on the table in front of us. I didn't even register her coming over here. Tara clears her throat and leans forward.
Thanks. Seriously.
The first word she's spoken in what feels like hours. She manages a small sip, but most of it dribbles down her shirt. I don't even know it. I don't even reach for my glass, knowing that my hands are just as shaky, if not more. My entire worldview is shattered. It's going to take more than just a walk in the snow and a glass of tap water for everything to sink in.
How are you not freaking out? Have you seen that thing before?
No, that was my first time as well.
She doesn't answer the other part of my question. Tara continues to slowly drink her glass of water, while mine remains untouched. At some point, Morgan goes into the kitchen and prepares a pot of coffee. I can hear her rummaging around in the fridge, and I smell the coffee as it brews, but neither register beyond a cursory awareness. What does get my attention is when she sets down 2 steaming mugs in front of us, hot coffee sloshing over into her hands.
Drink this, it'll help.
I do as I'm told, laughing at the Bruce, since it's too hot to sip. Tara does the same. Morgan sits beside her on the couch, draining her own mug much faster than we do as she gazes out the window. By the time I'm about halfway through my own, I do feel a bit better. Whether that's because of the warmth, the caffeine, or just the placebo effect, I'm not sure. Once we're finished, we just lapse back into preoccupied silence. Yet again, it's Morgan who breaks it.
I think the 2 of you should take some time to relax. I need to get home soon too, before I arouse too much suspicion. Does that work for you?
I look at Tara, who doesn't seem to even have heard what Morgan said.
Yeah, sounds fine.
The more I think about it, the more appealing it sounds. Right now I want nothing more than to curl up in my bed, cocoon myself in blankets, and sleep for a while.
Okay, I'll see you later then.
Never one for long goodbyes, Morgan heads straight for the door.
I'll message you soon.
She leaves before either of us can respond. Also wait, if she's never seen that thing before, how would she even know it existed? We sit. And sit. I don't know for how long. Longer than I've ever seen Tara sit still. I just don't know what else to do. As much as I'd like to, I know we can't just sit here forever. The knowledge that we'll soon have to return to mundane, everyday things feels unreal. We'll just witness something magical and life-changing, like we'll just go back to normal life. But I know that in truth, the world hasn't changed at all, just our knowledge of it. No matter how long we wait, the outside world will continue to pass us by. It feels like an eternity passes, but Tara's voice breaks through the silence. I'm not sure if I fell asleep or not, but I racked with start, and my heart beat 100 miles an hour.
So, what do you think?
About which part? There's a lot to take in.
Yeah, about all of it. Or any of it.
While she sits, she idly pulls on a loose thread from the blanket close by. She pulls and pulls, and it unravels even further. I don't think she knows she's doing it.
I think the main thing is that I wonder what else is out there now. Not just in the forest, but in the whole world. Are there more of those things? Or is it the only one of its kind? And how did no one ever see it before? There's just so much that I don't know how or what to feel. What about you?
Again, she shrugs.
Same, pretty much.
There's no way you're not gonna get that BooTube award now, you know?
It's a surefire joke. It should be an easy smile, but she doesn't react at all.
Probably not. Think I'm gonna crash. Good night, Mads.
Just like Morgan, she gets up and leaves without even giving me time to reply. There's barely 5 seconds between her saying it and her bedroom door slamming shut behind her. It's not at all the kind of response I'd expect from Tara, but these are far from normal circumstances. All that I can do now is wait. For her or for Morgan. Wait and wonder. After a late night spent researching, I awaken around 11 in the morning, a good 2 or 3 hours later than I usually get up. I get dressed in a hurry, not wanting to keep Tara waiting before we head into town. It would be a pretty ironic twist though, since usually I'm the one who has to wait for her to get ready for after late nights. I have a sheaf of notes that I took and a hand cramp to match. I'm not sure how useful all of it will be, but it's at least a starting point. Tara's good at seeing the hidden connections and putting pieces together too. It makes for entertaining videos, even without results. Out in the living room, a lukewarm pot of coffee and a used mug, the only indication that she's awake.
Hey, I'm up now. Slept in a little. I'll be ready to go in a sec.
I call her from the kitchen, preparing my own cup of coffee. She doesn't respond. I wonder if she can hear me without the door closed. Or hear me with the door closed. I go and knock on the door, being careful not to spill any coffee on myself. No response. I knock again, louder. Most likely she has her headphones in. That or she fell back to sleep.
You ready? I'm good to go. I have a bunch of notes and research too. Maybe we could go over some of it with Morgan.
Silence. She's not that heavy a sleeper. I knock again even harder, but she doesn't answer. I jiggle the doorknob a little, it turns easily. I open the door slowly, giving her ample time to yell and interrupt me. But she doesn't. The room is empty. She left without me? I let go of my carefully arranged papers, suddenly not really caring that much about them as they flutter to the floor. My hand shakes, hard enough for coffee to spill out of my mug and stain the pages below. So that's how it is. Whatever it is. I swallowed a lump in my throat, forcing myself not to overreact. Maybe she tried to wake me up and I slept through it. Or maybe she just went out for a walk and will be back soon. Or that we can go into town. There are 100 different benign scenarios for what could have happened, but in my heart I know that she ditched me, plain and simple. I go to the sink and dump out the coffee, my appetite suddenly gone. Then I pick up the papers that I dropped. A few are ruined beyond legibility from the coffee, but it's not like anyone will miss them. I throw them in the trash along with the sodden paper towels that I used to clean up the spill. I gather the rest of the papers into a pile and leave them on the kitchen counter. Throwing them away feels like a waste, but I don't really want to look at them right now. I retreat back to my room and slam the door. Even though there's no one around to hear it, I put on a film for random background noise more than anything. My thoughts start to wander before the opening credits are even finished. What exactly is it that I did to upset Tara so much? Before Morgan took us to church, things were fine between us. If not a little bit tense, but I was working on my attitude and she didn't seem bothered. And since seeing the monster, both of us have said so little. So I'm just left wondering what I did wrong. I wish that she would talk to me, at least help me understand. I'm about 15 minutes into the film before I realise that I have the French audio track playing without subtitles, that I haven't understood a word. I close my laptop and stare blankly at the wall, since it's the only thing I can do and not mess up right now. It isn't long before I can hear the crunching of 2 pairs of footsteps outside, as well as a low murmur of conversation. The front door bursts open, and from my room I can hear the den of Tara entering.
Gotta be related to the stuff in the journals. There's no way they're not talking about the same thing. Just send all those pics to my email address when you can. This is gonna be so freaking good.
Well, she's back to normal.
Sure thing.
I sit paralyzed in my bed. Should I ignore them? Go out and act like nothing's out of the ordinary? Part of me wants to just hide in my room, but the way Tara and I have always gotten over arguments is by being open about our issues. Plus, Tara would know that I'm in the cabin. If she brought Morgan back here, I doubt she's trying to avoid me. Plus, they came back specifically to include me. Hoping for the best, I head out into the living room. Tara's brewing a pot of coffee, while Morgan leans against the counter for a few books that she must have brought from home are stacked beside her. She glances up as I enter.
Hey, Maddie.
Hey there.
Tara nods without facing me.
What are the books?
I nod at the stack. Tara sets 2 cups of coffee in front of her, and Morgan in front. I don't at the stack. Tara sets 2 cups of coffee in front of her and Morgan and slides the books towards herself.
They're the journals she mentioned on the walk to the church. She was letting me take a look at them.
She puts emphasis on the word "me," like she's the only one allowed to. Well, maybe that's the case. This isn't off to a great start.
I see you picked up a coffee habit too, huh? Morgan's really rubbed off on you.
Yeah.
She turns to face Morgan, being sure to exclude me from what she's saying.
Okay, we can chill in my room. Might want to grab one of the spare chairs from out here.
Oh, okay.
It's a small consolation, but I can tell that even Morgan feels a little uncomfortable with the situation. She gave me a sympathetic look, but doesn't say anything. Just why is Tara acting like this? She would just tell me we could work it out. I stick out an arm, holding Morgan as she carries the chair across the cabin.
Tara, can I talk to you for a sec?
Oh shit. The 2 of them exchange a look, but I can't tell what it's supposed to mean. Then she shrugs. I gesture towards my room and she follows me in. I shut the door.
Can you please, tell me why you're mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
I scoff.
Whatever you want to call it, why are you treating me like this?
Like what?
I can already feel myself starting to get angry, but I try to keep it under control.
Please don't play dumb like that. You barely talked to me for 3 days, you ditched me this morning, and now you're going out of your way to exclude me. I don't know how to interpret that as anything other than mad. I have no idea what I said or did to piss you off, so I don't even know what to apologize for.
Tara runs a hand through her hair and looks around my room. It's the first time she's been in here since we arrived in Eisenfeld. It's more or less a carbon copy of hers, so I don't know what's so interesting about it.
I'm not mad, I'm just not wasting your time with this stuff anymore. I can take it from here.
I'm not quite sure I heard her right.
Sorry, what?
I said I can take it from here.
Take what exactly?
The vid. I mean, you're quitting anyway, so I've got to learn how to do all this on my own, right?
But that's not...
I don't even know what to say to that.
Why not ask me at least? Or even tell me? That's so screwed up.
How do you figure? Every day since we've got here, you've talked about or at least shown how you don't want to be here. You even said it yourself. You had to make an effort to be less bitchy whenever we go out. So, now that there's a solid lead, I can figure out the rest of it myself. Or at least with Morgan's help. If you want, I can buy you an early train ticket home or something. Next one should be coming through in a day or 2. You don't have to keep pretending to care.
The whole time, her tone never changes. It's flat and emotionless. I wonder if that's another result of Morgan's influence. I wait, expecting there to be more, hoping that there are more. There isn't. I stand there dumbfounded. Tara shrugs again, then leaves, closing my bedroom door behind her.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's get those journals.
I can still hear her talking to Morgan through the wall, bright and chipper. My legs feel weak all of a sudden, and I collapse into my bed. Through everything, my own misgivings and concerns about my future, choosing to quit the show and telling Tara about it, and even witnessing the monster at the church, I managed to keep my composure. But for the first time, and I don't know how long, I can't stop any longer. I cry. All this feels so unfair. Of course I don't want to be here. Of course I didn't want to be here. It's been a waste of time, every single other time. I get it, I was a skeptic, the non-believer, only humouring her and all her exploits and playing as her foil, or rained in her parade constantly. And now, after everything that's happened, she was right. Can't deny that, but why does it mean I don't deserve to be involved with it now? Maybe she took my leaving personally, even though I swore that it wasn't the case. I was only doing what was right for me. I need to move on and do something with my life. So is it really my fault that is it really my fault that meant I had... So is it really my fault that meant I had to stop playing around with paranormal stuff? After these past couple of days, I was even starting to reconsider that. Maybe staying on the show wouldn't be so bad. Once the episode goes live, everything would change. But now I don't feel like that's an option. Like she'd even want me here anymore. I feel like everything in my life has changed in just a few short days. like I'm lost at sea without anything to hold on to. My best friend and the whole world is at the epicenter of it all, and I'm thousands of miles from home. Through the walls, I can faintly hear the sound of Morgan and Tara discussing whatever it is. Not nearly loud enough for me to make out any words, but enough for me to be reminded of my explosion. I wonder if Tara knows how upset I am, or if she expected me to be grateful. Neither would surprise me. I cry until my eyes are dry and sore, but I don't feel any better. The walls of my bedroom feel claustrophobic, and the vague sound of Tara talking is insufferable. I hurriedly bundle up and slip out of my bedroom and out the cabin to get some fresh air. The cold is just barely more manageable today, but it's still preferable to the atmosphere inside. It stings my wet cheeks, burning reminders of my unhappiness. Pick a direction at random and start heading into the forest. As long as I don't make any twists or turns and just go in a straight line, I won't be able to get lost. After what I've seen, the woods feel especially hostile now. I wonder what else could be lurking in the shadows or further amongst the trees. Countless possibilities that I'd never consider are suddenly plausible. For once, I don't hesitate. I just walk, my feet automatically stepping over roots and other forest debris. Underfoot, the snow is slush and messy. My feet feel the same. My heart hurts, everything hurts. My nose burns from crying, and the cold exacerbates the effect. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? I just feel lost. I reflect on the show and on the years I've spent with Tara and wonder how it all came to this. The show had been her idea, of course, but I was the one who encouraged her to go through with it. She'd always had a flair for the dramatic, whether it was the school play or her old blog or even the over-top fanfic she used to write, and I'd always been there to support her. Whatever it was, I'd go over her lines with her and help her rehearse or even edit her fics. And when she first had the idea for Tara Normal, combining her two biggest interests, cryptids and herself, I was the only person who said she should go for it. Even came up with the name, which I'm still pretty proud of. At first I thought it would be just another entry in a long list of harebrained ideas that Tara would start and quickly lose interest in. I gave it 2, maybe 3 episodes tops before she got bored, but the reception was good and the views started coming in, so did the ad revenue and the sponsorships. What started as a weekend hobby turned into a weekend responsibility, and then into a day job. My role went from holding a cheap camera and sticking together the footage to actually learning proper video editing and investing in decent equipment. It seemed only natural that I'd be the one to handle all the invites, fan mail, inquiries and more, the professional side of things. Put my life on hold for the show, quit college halfway through my film studies degree, and moved out of my cheap student housing. I gave up my barista job and the store manager promotion that I've been hoping for. I dropped everything in order to help Tara make the best show possible. Sure, it wasn't like I had it rough. Tara would always split the royalties with me and pay for the expenses herself. The two of us had done pretty well for ourselves, better than we had any right to expect, but at the end of the day, it was still always about Tara. Her name was in the title, her name was in the contracts, her name in the fan mail, Tara, that's all. And when it was all over, on the final episode, some day goes up and she moves on, she'll be able to take that name with her anywhere, that success, that popularity. And all I'll have is the memory. The more I dwell on it, the more unfair Tara's behavior seems. I can feel anger overcoming my sadness. How could she say I'm only pretending to care? I gave up years of my life for her and dedicated them to making her look good. Without me, she'd have never been able to balance running the business side of the show while actually making it. Hell, she's not even close to being tech savvy enough to do what I do. Part of me wants to spin around right now and go back to the cabin and demand an apology. But I know how that would go. She'd get defensive, and even if she did say she's sorry, she wouldn't mean it. It wouldn't actually fix anything. We'd just be back to where we started when we got to Eisenfeld. Awkward and tense. There isn't really a good solution that I can think of, but I have to do is say something. I can't just leave things how they are. Her offer for an early trip home lingers in my mind. I'm sure she'd make good on that promise. It sounds pretty tempting too. At least in less than 3 days, I could be comfortable, warm, and back in my own bed. I never have to think about Morgan or Eisenfeld or forest spirits or weird churches or floating lights again. I could just move on with my life, same way I've been planning to once I get home anyway. As I think that though, I know it's not really an option. I'd never be able to live with myself if I had let it all go unresolved. Two piercing red eyes shade in my memory, and I know that there's no way I'll be able to forget about them. Remembering the monster makes me stop and take stock of my surroundings. I've been walking at a pretty good rate, unhindered by the weather and fueled by my bad mood. There's a small clearing just up ahead, and it looks like it might be a good spot to take a short break. It's not very big, I realize when I reach it. I could toss a stone from one side to the other. It doesn't feel as stifling as the rest of the forest though. I clear my throat. It's the only noise I can hear. The sound of the village doesn't travel this far. They barely reach the cabin for the most part. Overhead, the sky is a crystal clear blue for the first time that I can remember. It's still freezing, but it isn't cloudy. Not even an airplane or vapor trail disturbs the tranquility. I rub my eyes and defog my glasses. I must look like a real mess out here. I do feel a little bit better though. The fresh air alone has helped to clear my head. The snow underfoot is well trampled from my stomping around, and mud mixes with the slush to form a thin paste that sticks to my boots. If there was somewhere to sit down, this place would be perfect. I make do just leaning against a tree for this mostly dry. I need to remember how I got here. It would be nice to have a place of my own to retreat to when I need it, away from the other two. Just as I'm enjoying the tranquility, there's a rustling sound overhead. I look up just in time to get a face full of snow as it slides off a branch. Perfect timing. I cough and sputter, wiping away as much of it as I can, though a lot of it is still falling onto my clothes. I flap my jacket like wings, trying to knock it off. Right then, from the corner of my eye, a quick motion catches my attention. It's gone too fast for me to notice more than a glimpse of fabric, and I turn around to see who it was. But there's nothing there, and no sign of anyone having been there. Heart pounding, I walk over in the direction it came from, looking for footprints or something. There's nothing. I rub my eyes. Maybe it's the snow messing with my vision. Snap. The harsh, unmistakable sound of a branch breaking cracks behind me. I spin around, expecting to see Tara with a dumb smile on her face, having spooked me. But again, there's nothing. Put my coat tighter around myself and press my back against a tree.
Hello? Is someone there?
My voice resounds through the clearing, but goes unanswered. In the middle of a clearing, a mysterious woman appears, just for a moment. She has long pink hair and a lavender nightgown. Despite the cold and the snow, she's barefoot. Again, a flash of movement from the corner of my eye. This time I'm sure I see it, a glimpse of purple, darting behind a tree. I start towards it, hands reaching, but without a clear plan in my mind. Just like a dog chasing cars. I don't know what I'll actually do if I catch it. I walk into the middle of the clearing and turn a slow circle, hoping to spot whatever it was.
Can you hear me? Hello?
It already knows I'm here, there's no point in trying to hide. Snow crunches off to my left and I pivot just in time to see a girl disappear behind yet another tree.
Hey, wait!
I may as well not be saying anything, for all the effect it seems to have. I hurry to the tree where I saw it, but she's gone. I'm just running in circles, chasing after who knows what. My heart beats like a kick drum, a million possibilities racing through my head, each more fantastic than the last. Maybe she's from the village, maybe I imagined her, maybe she's another forest spirit, maybe she's the same forest spirit we saw in a different form. Any of them could be true. I've seen now that nothing is impossible. I look around, searching for a clue and finding none. This is a bad idea. I know every single fairy tale I've ever read warns this is a bad idea. Chasing mysterious girls in the woods never ends well. She could be luring me to a secret lair, or it could even be a disguise for some kind of terrible monster. Maybe it's the forest spirit, come to exact revenge for trespassers in its territory. I should turn and run. I race back to the cabin. Have I told Morgan and Tara? I'm sure this was the kind of thing that would override Tara's annoyance, at least for now. It could be our chance to patch things up, pursuing some new mystery. Or I could not tell Tara. I could solve the mystery myself, whatever it is. For the first time, something happens to me that doesn't involve Tara. I could keep it that way. My hand is trembling, but I reach out in the direction I last saw the girl, more as a sign of openness than anything else.
Are you still there?
Silence.
If you can hear me, can you let me know?
No response. Fingers close over empty air. This is stupid. I feel like an idiot talking to no one. If she wanted to be caught, she would have let me, I'm sure. But then if she didn't, then what was the point of even showing herself?
I'll come back tomorrow, okay? If you'll be here again.
It feels desperate, and it is desperate. But I can't let this chance go, not when this could be all I have. A light breeze blows through as if to answer. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I stand there hoping for another sign. As I give up and turn back towards the path, I see it. Just for a split second, a bright pink light, crystal clear in the colour of a sunset, flashes just once. It's the same as the one we chased through the forest several days ago. My breath catches in my throat, my muscles tighten, poised to follow, but my common sense overrides. If I say I want to, I can't just go running off into the forest on my own. Probably never find my way back. I swallow. If it can understand me, like it seems to, then I'll see it tomorrow, once I've had more time to prepare. I face the direction the light came from, even though it's gone now.
I'll be back tomorrow. I promise.
Morgan and Tara never noticed me come home. They may not even notice I left, but I don't make any effort to talk with them. I'm still too angry with Tara. Instead, I spend the rest of my day in my room, watching films or reading. All the research I was so eagerly working on is put aside, stuffed into a folder that's out of sight on my hard drive. I have my own project now, my own league to explore. The thought of that light and the mysterious girl in the woods stays on my mind through it all. Even late into the night, I can hear that Morgan's still over, in Tara's room with her. At some point, the sound goes from conversation to something else. Turn up the volume of my computer. They can do whatever they want. It's well past midnight when my eyes finally get heavy enough to sleep. Hey, yo, what the fuck are they up to over there? Tara getting bitches? The next day, I head straight to the clearing without telling anyone. I believe 24 hours to the minute since I left it. From the thick clouds overhead, I can tell that it's going to be a short trip. Still, I have to go, at least to see. My heart thumps with anticipation and more than a little nervousness. It's an odd mix. I force myself to keep a calm demeanor and not get too worked up. It's difficult. I'm hopeful, but I don't know what for. I don't have a camera. I don't even have my cell phone. There's no way I could prove anything that happens. And it's not like there's anyone who could vouch for me, say that I saw what I saw. For now, it's important that I keep it that way. This encounter, whatever it may be, will be mine and mine alone. Arriving at the clearing, I brace myself for what I might find. Nothing's changed. I'm out of silence. There's a faint sound of trees rustling in the wind, and nothing more.
Hello? Are you out there?
I give it a moment, waiting and hoping for a response that never comes. Maybe it really was my eyes playing tricks on me. The light could have been a reflection of the sun, and the girl could have been... There's not a doubt left in my mind that the girl was there. There's no way I didn't see someone. Frustrated, I kick some of the mush on the ground, and it splashes up and splatters my leg.
Are you there? I'm waiting. Please.
I feel like a fool. I'm pleading with someone that may or may not exist to manifest. If someone had told me a week ago that I'd be here doing this today, I'd have laughed at them. Everything about this situation is unlike me. My irritation builds up, with myself, with Tara, with the stupid ghost light, with everything. Whatever was there is gone now, and really, what kind of an idiot convinces herself to come back for an imaginary date with a weird breeze? I clench my fist, looking without seeing. Slowly I turn circles, hoping for something, anything. I relapse back and forth at an increasingly desperate pace. Not really sure what kind of clue I'm searching for, but just knowing that I can't sit still. If I sit still, then I'm giving up, and if I give up, then I don't really have anything left for me out here. For the second day in a row, I feel the sting of tears in my eyes, and I pinch my eyes shut to stop them. Not here, not today. I hold my hands there and suck in a deep breath. Cold air stings my throat. I steady my breath, fighting back the urge to cry. After a moment, once the urge is past, I lower my hands and open my eyes. And she's there. So silent and so suddenly that it's like she was never not there. The mysterious girl stands before me, barefoot in the snow but seemingly unfazed. She regards me with a curious look and her eyes wide, like I'm the one who's out of place. Damn, she's kinda cute though. Now that she's here, right in front of me, I realize I don't know what to say.
Hello?
Is that all I could muster? The voice comes out weaker than I expected. Her eyes go wide at my word. Her lips move, but no sound comes out. She mouths something else. She mouths something else again, still without a voice.
I can't hear you.
I frown. She turns away. Have I disappointed her? Is she going to disappear again?
Please don't go.
I don't know why I want her to stay. Something is clearly different, unnatural. This isn't a normal girl. But that's exciting, and in and of itself. The girl turns back around to face me. She looks just as confused as I feel. There's a nervous sort of energy to her. Beneath the gown she's wearing, far too thin for the weather, the girl's legs are tense and ready to bolt. Take a step forward, holding out my hand the same way I'd approach a kitten or a lost puppy.
My name's Madison. Can you understand me?
She still looks a bit nervous, but nods. So we speak the same language, that's good. Is she from Eisenfeld? I can't imagine she's from anywhere else, there's nothing else around.
You were talking, right? Just a bit ago. But I couldn't hear you.
Another nod. That means that for whatever reason, her words can't reach me. Maybe she's naturally mute, or maybe her voice was magically stolen. Every idea that comes to mind is more ridiculous than the last, but I consider them all equally. To my surprise, I'm able to remain calm, and by my standards, pretty level-headed. It seems that the girl is more afraid of me than vice versa. I drop my hands down, offering a handshake. She stares at it for a moment, maybe expecting it to turn to a snake or for me to shoot magic bolts in my fingers. When neither of those happen, she gingerly, slowly reaches for my hand. It passes right through me. Her fingers glide through the palm of my hand like a breeze disappearing into the air. Oh, she's adorable. With a sad smile, she looks down, seemingly expecting this result. Horrific realization slowly dawns on me, the same tinge of certainty that guides me out here. This girl isn't really here, in the same way I am.
You're a ghost.
A slow, sad nod. She looks almost apologetic about it, for the inconveniencing me of her lack of corporeal form.
I'm sorry.
The words feel weak and inadequate, and nearly like a non sequitur. But really, what do I say to a ghost? She shakes her head vigorously, hair flying about, trying to rid herself of some bad thought. She gives me a big smile and stretches her arm wide, turning out about to gesture to the trees around. I know, right? She's adorable. I love her. Also, the marketing for this game made clear she is very, very gay. Like one of the like a list of selling points on the store page, and one of them is just a very, very gay ghost.
What is it? I don't understand.
The girl bites her lip, wondering how to better convey her message. Then, with a decisive nod, she points to me, then points to the ground between us. Pausing a moment, she holds that pose, and she points to the trees, in particular the path I'd come from, and shakes her head. A flash of fear knifes its way under my skin. Is she threatening me? She definitely doesn't look like it.
Something about where I came from?
She nods, then repeats the pointing, first at me, then to the ground.
Me? Right here?
Another nod.
You're asking if I'll stay here?
She nods and claps, hopping up. Except she doesn't come back down. She hovers there as if suspended by invisible strings, then slowly lowers herself back to the ground. I'm not sure if it's what she's going for, but I smile.
Are you showing off?
She laughs and nods, glad to be understood.
I can stay for a bit, sure. If you want me to, I mean.
The girl practically zooms the short distance between us, moving with what might be supernatural speed. She stands so close that her gown faces through me. Uncomfortable as it is, it's uncomfortable in its lack of sensation. And she nods again, this time solemn and hopeful. I can't fight the feeling that she could easily be setting some kind of trap and leading me astray, but I don't get that impression from her, so I agree.
Okay, I'd be happy to. But I can't stay for too long, or Tara will start to wonder where I am.
Tara again. For the first time since we arrived, I was able to finally push her from my thoughts. I was so overwhelmed by meeting this girl that Tara didn't even register on my consciousness. But now, there she is again, and she's more haunting than the ghost. The ghost in question mouths Tara's name, one of the few words I can actually lip read.
The person I came here with, she's, back in the village.
The girl's eyes go wide and she points in the direction of the forest, then makes a dragging motion to where we were. This one's easy to understand.
No, she's not coming here. She has no idea.
For the first time, I'm glad the girl can't speak, because it means she can't ask me to elaborate. I don't want to think about Tara right now.
Anyway, were you here yesterday too? Watching me?
I nod, wholly unapologetic.
I thought so. I also thought I might be crazy though. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised by either one.
She looks surprised. I wonder if she knows about the other supernatural occurrences in the forest. Maybe they're connected somehow.
The other day, my friend and I were out in the forest,
Nod.
and suddenly there was this huge snowstorm out of nowhere, and we saw this giant thing.
I stretched my hand to indicate just how enormous it was, but its enormity and terror of it is impossible to convey.
I don't even know how to describe it. It was a monster of some kind. Like a huge tree had come alive and was walking in the snow. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not only does the girl nod, but she laughs, finding something funny about my story. I'm not sure if I should be worried or not.
So you've seen it. Is it, like, evil?
A firm shake of her head.
That's good. It was honestly the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
After that, we taper off into silence. Well, I did. I don't have a reason to believe her, but so far she doesn't seem threatening at all. I have a hard enough time holding up my end of the conversation under normal circumstances. This just makes it even harder. The two of us just stand there looking at each other. Now that she's not moving around so much, I'm able to get a better look at her. She seems to be around my age, if not a bit younger. Her hair is long and slightly unruly, reaching well down below her back. She reminds me a bit. Give me a second. Right. She reminds me a bit of Rapunzel, all alone in the forest. A cute bow midway down keeps her hair in place. Her wide eyes are curious but slightly sad. Still, she smiles so easily that I wonder if I'm just imagining the sorrow. As green as emeralds, her eyes kind of remind me of Morgan's. I was so taken aback by her sudden appearance and, well, ghostliness that at first I didn't realize she's beautiful. Choice of attire makes a lot more sense now that I know she can't feel the cold. The gown she's wearing has a few dangling threads and scuff spots, which I assume haven't changed since she died. I shudder, trying not to think of my own mortality. What was it like? Why was she here instead of wherever? Instead of whatever usually happens when you die? Does she know that she's missing? An afterlife, or lack thereof? I have a million questions about her life and about herself. There's so much I want to ask her, but it's impossible. Plus, we've only known each other a few minutes. It feels like it would be rude to ask right away. A thick snowflake lands on my cheek, startling me. I've pretty much forgotten about the weather. Overhead, the clouds are getting worse, and the snow is starting to fall more heavily. As much as I want to spend more time with her, I really don't want to get caught in a blizzard a second time.
I need to go back now, but will you be here again? I'd like to see you again. If you'd like that too.
She nods emphatically with a grin to match. I can't help but smile in return. It's nice to know that someone is looking forward to seeing me.
Okay, I'll come back as soon as I can. I promise. Although, I'm not sure when the weather will let me do that. On the next sunny day, I'll be there, okay?
She nods.
Okay, I'll see you soon then. I hope.
The girl waves goodbye as I turn to leave, remaining in the center of the clearing. As I get my last look at her, I know that I'm not imagining the sadness in her eyes now. I glance behind several times on the walk back, each time expecting her to have disappeared once more. But she stays there, waving until the trees obscure her from sight. A splash of purple fabric against the brown and white of the forest. A little sparkle of light to look forward to. That's adorable. Oh, my heart. For almost every step I take, I cast a glance behind me. I keep expecting to hear the crunch of snow or a spot of flash of red hair as Tara follows me, but there's nothing. I drew me for your streams when I join you. Hey yo, can I see? I know some VTubers, they have the little PNG tubers of people they're on with. I have zero clue how to set that up, but if I can figure it out, I will. Oh, my heart. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, it's adorable. Thank you, Peony. I'll see if I can figure out how the fuck you're meant to get this working. I'm sure I'll figure something out. Okay, let's... I'm alone. I hurry for the woods, practically on autopilot. Less than a week ago, I'd have never set foot in the forest on my own, but now I've already memorized the path to the... I'd never have set foot in the forest on my own, but now I already have the path to the clearing memorized. It gives me extra time to worry. What am I even doing? Everything about this situation is extremely not me. Heading off on my own into a dark forest without telling anyone to go meet up with a ghost? Even thinking the word ghost still makes my heart lurch. I've seen her with my own eyes, and yet I still have trouble believing it. I'm just trusting that she's not going to lead me to her lair and suck up my soul or something like that. I feel like Gretel, and I'm not even cautious enough to leave a breadcrumb trail. But still, I keep walking. There's something exciting in being on my own. I'm doing something without Tara. I can't remember the last time I had a secret from her, at least not a big one. Not telling her about the ghost girl feels like a little bit like a rebellion. I feel like I deserve something exciting that's all my own. She and Morgan can go do whatever. I doubt Tara will even notice I'm not around. Even if she does, it's something that she needs to get used to. I've tried to show her how to cut a video or frame a shot lots of times. It's her own fault if she still doesn't get it. Just like it's her own fault that she's missing out now. As I approach the clearing, I slow down a little. My usual trepidation overtakes me once again as I contemplate just how reckless this is. There's an absolute no guarantee that the girl isn't dangerous, and I'll just walk out of these woods alive. Normally I chastise Tara for following her gut instinct, which dictates probably 70% of her decisions. Yeah, that's all I have to go on right now. The feeling that I'm safe with the ghost girl, that she won't harm me. I cross the threshold of trees and into the clearing, just like the other time. It's serenely quiet. Even my past footsteps are gone, erased by the wind or snowfall.
I'm here.
Somehow I feel like she already knows. The forest swallows my words, returning to frozen, pristine silence. Soundlessly, she just steps out from behind a tree. A small smile sits on her face, though her eyes are slightly downcast. She waves, meeting my eyes for a moment before glancing away.
Hi there.
Her words hang still in the air.
Were you waiting for me?
We lock eyes again and she nods, quickly, earnestly.
I hope it wasn't for too long.
She shakes her head and then she laughs. I'm not sure what the joke is though.
What? What's so funny?
Once she catches her breath, she bites her lip as she ponders. After a moment, she shrugs, looking apologetic. I guess explaining a joke through gestures would be difficult. She slides up next to me and I fight the urge to step back, though I've decided to trust her. My instincts still, belie? My nerves. What seems to be most interested in is the bag slung over my shoulder. She simulates opening the bag so that she can see into it.
Nosy, huh?
Immediately she backsteps, moving her hands in a frantic, apologetic motion.
Sorry, I was just kidding. You can look.
She regards me like a timid deer as I hold the bag open for her to see, and say there are a couple of books that I picked up in the village this morning. Why didn't you bring the Ouija board? Tara's established to own a Ouija board. You should have brought it. I hold up the first one, small and square in baby blue.
I got a really strange look from the person who runs the bookstore because of this one. It's a book of baby names.
Her eyes go wide. She grasps at her belly, then points at me. It takes me a second to understand what she meant. For some reason, I feel my face flush.
No, I am not pregnant. But I thought maybe you could use it to show me your name? If it's a name that would be...
Before I can finish the sentence, she zooms back over to me, all sense of personal space once again disregarded. She claps her hands, a fiery look in her eyes, and hops up and down. Frantically, it's adorable.
Guess you're a fan. Okay, cool.
She eyes the book hungrily. She was really excited to share her name with me. It's a little exciting for me too. It's nice to see someone so happy about being with me. I fight to keep an overzealous grin off my face.
Okay, let's see.
I look around. Aside from trees and snow, there isn't much. I wonder if there's something about this place in particular the girl likes.
Is there somewhere nearby where we could sit down? It feels a little weird to just keep standing.
Finger on her chin, she ponders. Then she turns and points towards the woods, even further in. I can tell from the look in her eye that she's uncertain. I swallow a lump in my throat. Come this far after all.
Sure, that's fine. Lead the way.
She does so, but never gets too far from my side. Every few steps she glances at me, as if making sure I'm still here. That feels a little backwards to me, but in a nice way. I don't really feel compelled to break the silence either. Of course, part of that is because any conversation would be one-sided. But also, she looks content, like she's just happy to be here. She's just happy, she's just happy to be here. I am too. Silence doesn't feel vast or overwhelming like it has with Tara. It just feels warm. Before too long, I realized that what our destination is. This is nearly the same path that Morgan took us down just a couple of dusks ago. I recognized some of the more grotesquely warped trees.
We're going to that church.
Eyes wide, she nods, probably surprised that I know of it.
One of the villagers showed it to us a few days ago. Me and my friend.
It feels weird to just call Tara my friend. Usually I'm talking to someone about Tara, they've met her. The girl just nods yet again. As we reach the edge of the trees and the church itself comes into sight, I look around for traces of the monster we saw days ago. There's none to be seen though, no snaps or troubled trees. No footsteps as deep as I am tall. Much like the girl beside me, there's no trace of its existence. I look over to the door of the church, where she's patiently waiting for me. Once again, I faint back all my fears and hesitations and head for the door to... It's too late to turn back now. The door is still slightly ajar from our visit a few days ago. A thin trail of snow powders the entranceway, but otherwise the church is dry. It's still unnaturally warm. I wonder if that has to do with the girl. From the way she walks, I can tell that she's familiar with the place. She heads to the front, stopping just shy of the altar, where she turns around to face me. Being back here is a little unnerving, and I slowly approach her, though she hasn't given me any reason to be suspicious. The image of those mysterious eyes is ingrained in my memory. But this time there's no howling wind or earth-shaking footsteps, just one girl waiting patiently. I give her a smile and I sit down on one of the pews near the front. It's what's all the big words in this? It's hewn from stone, smooth and rigid. She takes a seat right beside me. Normally, being this close to a stranger makes me uncomfortable, but with her, I don't really mind. Part of it, of course, is the fact I can't feel her at all. The other part is that it feels kind of pleasant to sit together like this. I instantly put that thought out of my head. She's a ghost. She's literally transparent and insubstantial. I rummage for my bag and grab the book of baby names.
Okay, so, first?
She bounces up and down with anticipation as I tear off the plastic cling wrap and stuff it in the tote bag.
Is the first letter early in the alphabet?
She nods and holds up one finger.
I. L?
Two shakes of her head. She touches her index finger together, then uses her middle finger to cross between them.
Oh, an A.
Enthusiastic nodding. I flip to the first couple pages of the book. Right in the middle of the A's, the first name I spot is Amber. Impatiently, she leans over me and motions to go further. It goes further back, towards the start. I turn the pages slowly, giving her time to scan. On the very first page, she holds out a hand to stop and points. She's practically hanging over my shoulder to show me.
Abigail. Your name is Abigail.
She gives me the biggest, most radiant nod I've ever seen. Most radiant grin I've ever seen as she nods. Her joy is infectious and I can't help but smile too.
Abigail.
I repeat it and she looks even more joyful. A beam of light breaks through the glass window, illuminating dust motes that make it look like she's sparkling. We lock eyes and I feel my breath catch in my throat, and the look in her eyes, pure unadulterated happiness, is something I've never seen before. They shine with tears, the good kind. The kind that brings out the colour in her eyes, the radiant kind. I didn't know I could make someone happy like this. I quietly look away, but back to the now irrelevant book in my lap.
Anyway, Abigail, I had a couple questions. Is that okay?
Abigail nods.
So, maybe this is kind of rude to ask, but are you a ghost? Or are you something else?
Abigail closes her eyes with a sad smile, nods.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what the appropriate response to something like this is.
Then, are you from Eisenfeld?
Nod.
Do you know a girl from there called Morgan?
She shakes her head. That makes sense. I'm sure Morgan would have mentioned her before if so.
So have you, like, been a ghost for a long time then?
I cringe a little as I ask. I think Gauche? Although I'm not entirely sure what proper etiquette is for this kind of conversation. In answer to my question, she nods again.
Do you know how long?
I shrug. She holds up two fingers in a fist.
200?
Another shrug and a nod.
200 years.
I murmur it to myself in slight disbelief. It could be more. I doubt she's been keeping track of every day. The world out there, the world I come from, it may as well be another planet to her.
I'm sorry.
It's incomprehensible to me. I can't fathom that much time passing, unable to talk to anyone, how lonely that must be. She closes her eyes yet again, though I've been interpreting her silence as serent. I wonder if that's how she feels. Those yes or no questions are practically the extent of what I can ask her. There's still a gulf between who she is and what I know of her. Centuries worth of solitude.
In all that time, have you ever spent time like this with someone else?
Without opening her eyes or looking at me, she shakes her head again.
I'm the only one?
Nod. I fall silent too, my head still reeling. There are so many things that I want to ask and want to know. How did she die? Why did her spirit stick around? Does she know about the thing we saw in the woods? Why am I the first person she's shown herself to? There's no way she can answer. Even if she could, I wonder if she'd want to, if it's impolite to remain a ghost of dead. It's morbidly funny to me that these are questions I have to ask myself. Tara would love this. I pushed that thought out of my head too. Tara's not here right now. It's just me and Abigail.
Would you like me to read that other book?
Her grin returns, the moment of melancholy dispelled. Seems I made the right call in changing the subject. I show her the cover before I crack it open, enjoying that new book smell.
This is a book I read a lot when I was younger. It's about a girl who wants to be a hero, so she goes on a quest with her best friend to prove herself. It's a little childish, I guess, but maybe you'd like it?
Abigail claps her hands and nods. I have a feeling I could read the dictionary to her and she'd be satisfied, but I don't mention that.
Okay.
I smooth a crease and open to the first page.
Once upon a time.
It's a story that I could probably recite by heart. My mom used to read it to me when I was a little girl, and it was one of the books that I used to learn to read. I was both surprised and excited to see that there was a copy in Eisenfield's bookstore. I settled into an easy cadence of reading, though I'm not used to reading out loud. You and me both. It starts to feel pretty natural after only a couple pages. Like my mum used to do. I give all the characters different voices. I don't have quite the range my mum does, but Abigail seems to enjoy it all the same. She smiles and laughs in all the right places. It makes my heart warm to see how much she's enjoying it. Her eyes are closed yet again, but she looked quite content. If we finish chapter 2, Abigail scoots a little closer and rests her head near my shoulder. I pause mid-sentence, surprised, but resume a second later. Though I can't feel her there, the sentiment is clear. I keep reading. Sometimes when I glance down, I can see that her eyes are open, reading along. Her lips move the same words I am. One time she catches me looking and blushes, but I just smile and continue going. After we finish chapter 4, I finally pause. My mouth is dry and my jaw is starting to hurt a little bit. I must have been reading aloud for close to an hour. Oh my god, same. Yes, but it's been like an hour and 7 minutes I've been streaming. Even though I stop, Abigail doesn't sit up or open her eyes. Her hands rest on my arm and I set the book aside. Do ghosts need to sleep? That's another question I can ask, but maybe at a different time. Right now I'm happy to let her pretend. Quietly I hum a song. It's something from the radio. A title I can't remember, but that's always stuck in my head. I'm extremely off key, but I'm sure I don't care. It just felt right. When I stop, she finally opens her eyes and sits back up. We gaze at each other. She mouths 2 words that I don't have to be good at lip reading to decipher. Thank you.
No problem. I hope you like the story.
First she claps, then she places one hand over her heart. I laugh, flattered, but also a little embarrassed.
I think that's all I can do today, but we should read more sometime. If you want to, I mean.
I already know the answer, but she gives me an emphatic nod all the same.
Okay, it's a promise.
She stretches her heart again, and I smile.
I should probably head back to the cabin soon. People will start to get suspicious if I'm gone for too long.
Abigail cocks her head like an owl, curious.
I, haven't told my friends about you yet. It's sort of like our secret, I guess. And I want to keep it that way for a little longer.
She smiles in agreement. Right, I need to go to the bathroom, like really bad, so I'll pause here for a minute. Right, I'm back. I have zero clue how far I am into this chapter. I'll keep reading for a while, and if I find a good stopping point, I'll end the stream there. I want to keep going a lot longer though. Once it starts getting dark, we say our goodbyes and part ways at the church. Same as when we first met, she watches me go until she vanishes from sight. As I head back towards the cabin, my head is swimming, or maybe drowning. It's hard to think of anything but Abigail, all alone in the middle of the forest for centuries. What's her story? I want to know, but I doubt I ever will. Yet I'm already looking forward to seeing her again, even though in the back of my mind I'm aware that Tara and I will only be here for a few more weeks. It seems almost cruel, knowing that this is all so short-lived. If I were her, I would rather have a few weeks of happiness just to lose it again, or would I? If I were her, would I rather have a few weeks of happiness just to lose it again, or never have anything at all? The question makes my head and heart hurt. The walk back feels like it goes by quicker than my journey to the clearing and then the church. As I get closer to the cabin, I can see that the windows are dark. Tara must be in town or out with Morgan somewhere. I wonder if she noticed I was gone. My music is interrupted by the sudden sound of footsteps in the snow. The mayor steps out from behind a tree, just like Abigail did earlier.
Good evening, Madison.
Jesus.
Evening, Miss Mayor.
Where have you been?
I freeze. Her tone is sharp with no pretenses of being conversational. Her glare is even sharper. Does she know about Abigail or the forest spirit? Surely she would have mentioned it if so. My mind reels while I stall for time.
I was out for a walk in the forest.
I'm bad at lying, so I try to just tell her my half-truths.
I can see that. Where did you go?
Around. I was just walking around. Needed the fresh air.
Alone? Where is your friend? Or my daughter?
For each question she asks, she takes a nearly imperceptible step closer. I shrug, trying to look indifferent. I don't think it's working.
I'm not sure. Tara and I had an argument earlier. I wanted to be alone.
An argument? Regarding what?
She's far too close for comfort now. Close enough that she could reach out and grab me by the throat if she wanted to. Still, I'm so taken aback by the nerve of her asking about my personal issues that my voice comes out stronger than I would have hoped for.
I'm sorry, but I'm not comfortable talking about it.
The mayor regards me for a long moment. Her nostrils flare. I meet her gaze and don't look away, even though I desperately want to. I half expect her tongue to shoot out and taste the air like a snake. It feels like if she can see me, it feels as if she can see right through me. I'm almost certain that she knows I'm hiding something from her, more than just my argument with Tara.
I see.
She flips her hair and walks past me, heading into the forest.
Be careful, Madison. The woods are dangerous on your own.
She feels like a Scooby-Doo villain. You know how it's like the weird character, like who turns out to be the cool at the end? She feels like a Scooby-Doo villain. Like she's gonna be the evil mayor. That's like, I don't know, hiding it, or she's a cult leader or something. I stand there, heart in my throat, till the sound of snow under my feet fades into silence. I forget my art taste. Also, while you're here, how's this audio, by the way? Should I turn the game up a bit? The game was really loud when I played Highway Blossom. Right, cool, it's great. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't, like, you couldn't hear anything over me screaming. Or if the game was too quiet or something. Shuddering, I hurry the rest of the way to the cabin. Ooh. Getting Tara's perspective, let's go. A burst of bright light jerks me awake. I groan, getting ready to toss a pillow at Maddie and demand she turn the light back off. It's so bright it hurts when I try to open my eyes. But when I do, I realize the light is coming from the window. It's not a window I recognize. Uh-oh. Tara and Morgan wake up naked in bed together. Hey yo? Hey, what the? Hey yo? I can show this, right? I don't know if I think I can show this. Oh god. Covered with blankets. Morgan is still sleeping while Tara is setting up. Oh shit, yeah, they were doing shit. Morgan is starting to stir next to me, an adorable little smile on her face. It's so cute that for a moment it distracts me from the fact that she's completely naked. It takes another second for me to realize that I am too. I yank the covers up to my chest to, well, cover myself. Memories of last night start to come back to me in bits and pieces. When we're going over notes about something, and admittedly I might have gotten a little flirty. The next thing I know, we're kissing. The books are on the floor. I hear papers crumpling underneath my butt. And once I said yes, she couldn't even wait to get to the bed before she started undressing me. It's not that I'm complaining, but I was definitely the last possible way I thought she'd respond. At least now I remember why I'm sore. It wasn't long before Morgan opened her eyes as well. The rest of her face doesn't move as she wakes up. She sleeps with that same blank face that she has when she's awake.
Good morning, Tara.
Her voice seems a little different, softer maybe. I have no idea, but it's kind of nice.
Hey, yeah, good morning.
I cringe at the sound of my own voice, and that was way too loud. I need to do a better job of keeping my cool.
How'd you sleep?
Better than I have in a long time.
I smile.
Although you do snore. Loudly.
Try not to let my smile break. I mean, she's right, but only when I lay on my back. Okay, I'm just gonna... Just to make sure. I try to think back on a long list of awkward morning afters, and pick out a good comeback, but everything grinds to a halt as soon as I feel her lips press against my side. It's just a tiny peck, the kind I'd give a cute fan, but she blows a tiny puff of hot air into my skin that makes me shiver. You do this multiple times? Tara, what's wrong with you? I can feel my face turning as red as my hair, and I know a comeback's not happening.
Tara, are you okay?
I need to say something to get back on top of this mess, but all I can do is stare down at her. Those bright green eyes, that soft face, that messy orange hair.
Tara?
Oh, sorry, I was just thinking that, well, you're cute.
Hey JK, welcome. This is not the best of times to be dropping in, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I hope you get better soon. I was not expecting this. Thankfully I haven't downloaded the 18+ patch, so we're not getting more explicit than this, but I'm not sure I want to risk it. Hey, I've had worse lines. I can't see her face, but I think I heard her chuckle or something like that. I should probably get up too, but I can't help taking a minute to stare. Maddie always gets on at me for being first day, but I think I earned it this time. Her curves, her muscles. She's like someone asked me every last detail about my type, then turned her real. This village is a dream come true. Her clothes are spread across the floor, and it takes me a moment to hunt them all down. What's about a bed? Actually, that's how they usually are at home, too. I've got more important things than clothes to keep in my dresser. Morgan's already dressed by the time I get everything together, with her hair down in its usual pigtails. Cute as they are, I kind of miss how it looked down. Okay, we're safe to get the full view.
Is something wrong?
Your mom isn't home, right? I'm pretty sure she won't be happy if she sees me coming out of your room first thing in the morning.
You made enough noise last night that she'd know anyway. I don't think she's going to do anything about it.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
Feels like I'm burning up, but her expression is the same as ever. She's not even trying to be smooth, and she's still better at it than I am. I'm already really good.
great, yeah, cool. Glad we don't have to worry.
I'm going to go make some coffee for us. That's my bra, by the way.
No wonder it felt so loose. She's out of the door, leaving me to search for more clothes. and thinking about the conversation Morgan and I have to have when I get back. Oh boy. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about what I want to say when she returns with the coffees, already chugging hers down.
I usually make it strong, but I put plenty of cream and sugar in yours, so you should be fine.
Yeah, they did go fucking went ham. They went crazy. I'm surprised it just. That's Jesus, Tara, you're going so fast. You met this girl like a week ago.
I normally take it black, actually.
I saw your daily routine video. I know how you take your coffee.
I don't even know why I bother with the usual cool routine at this point. I should just accept that I'm beat. I take a tiny sip of the coffee, and nearly fall back down onto the bed. Even with cream and sugar, this is the strongest thing I've ever tasted. She drinks this black?
Is it too much? I can put some liquor in it if you want.
Isn't it like 8 in the morning?
Yes. Why do you ask?
Morgan, you worry me. I sigh and take another bitter sip. The last thing I need right now is alcohol.
Hey, so I think we need to talk.
Sure. What about?
I'm not sure if she doesn't know or doesn't care about what I'm going to say, but from the way she's acted so far, I'm pretty sure it's the second one.
Look, you're a really great person. I really like hanging out with you, and I had a great time last night.
Given the classic I'm not looking for a relationship spiel.
I know.
She needs to stop making me blush. I probably look the same way Mads does every time I try to introduce her to a cute girl.
I just want to make sure we're clear on what that was all about. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I mean, I'm not really the dating type, and I'm gonna be leaving in a month. I'm happy to do stuff like this as long as it's...
Tara.
She doesn't sound frustrated or upset. If anything, her voice is softer.
We talked about this exact thing last night. You're cute, you're fun, and I really enjoyed having sex with you. But that's all this is, and neither of us expect or want anything different. You don't have to give me any excuses.
Blunt as ever. She takes another sip of coffee as I breathe a sigh of relief. All that worrying for nothing.
Great! Awesome, cool. Yeah, I'm glad that's settled then.
I should feel relieved, relaxed, all that good stuff. With the rough part of it out of the way, I can go right back to being intrepid and charming as always. Why do I feel like I'm the one who's got let down here? This kind of thing shouldn't bother me, even if it didn't go the way I'm used to. This is why I hate taking time to think about things.
So, did you make that sweater yourself?
Morgan's eyes widened at my question. Looks like I found a good way to move on.
I did, actually. My ex showed me how to knit a few years ago, and I've been doing it ever since. It's a nice way to pass the time. If you want, I could make you something to take home when you're done here.
That'd be super cool. Everyone I know wears coats like Maddie's, or one of those big puffy marshmallow coats. I'm sure some hand-knit stuff would break the mold.
The fact that you insist on going investigating in nothing but a light jacket made me assume you didn't like coats in general.
Maybe I was just waiting to get in on the hip wool fashion trend.
Catch her smiling in between sips. She may act different, but I get the feeling that we're on the same wavelength for some things. I mean, obviously, since we ended up together, but still. Well, not together, of course, but...
I thought it was because of your shirt. You wear that same moon shirt in every vlog you do. I didn't expect it to be the same way in real life.
It was actually Maddie's idea, believe it or not. Something about having a visual brand for the sake of the show. I figured my winning smile would be enough, but... I mean, as long as people like it.
I didn't realize she was that invested in the show. I figured she didn't care that much.
Ouch. Hearing her mention how distant Maddie seems is a very painful reminder of how much things have fallen apart between us.
She used to be. Back when we started, she was a lot more invested in this whole thing. We've been inseparable since high school, and I figured she was really excited to keep that bond going strong.
Good. You're gonna make chocolate-covered marshmallows? Lucky. Tell me how they are. Bye.
That's pretty incredible. I don't think I've had any friendships that lasted more than a year.
I realized that she hasn't mentioned a single friend since we got here. I guess claiming your cat talks to you probably doesn't score you points if anyone other than me.
Oh yeah, it's been like around 10 years or something. Don't tell her I told you this, but we actually met because we were both total goths.
I jump when Morgan suddenly bursts into laughter. I've only known her for about a week, but it feels weirdly unlike her. Probably because it's the most emotion she's shown since we met, and that includes last night.
I can't imagine Maddie walking around with raccoon eyes and dyed hair.
You have no idea. She was goth enough to put me to shame. Always talking about the darkness in her soul. Chilling with all other cool goth kids, calling herself Raven. It was great.
You were part of a group? Do you keep in touch with any of them? I'd hope at least one of them kept the look.
My smile fades as I look away from her. I couldn't have known that asking that would bring back bad memories, so I don't blame her. But the memories are still there.
Not really. Most of them stopped talking to me when I told them I was trans, and the rest bailed as soon as I started to actually transition.
Yikes, girl. Yikes.
Maddie was the only one who really stuck up for me. I'll never forget that.
Also, holy shit, not only do we have a trans character, but one who actually has, like, it's actually part of her character. Like, it affects her in ways that aren't just, here's a character as part of a minority. Okay, and it never comes up again. Morgan put down her empty mug, not even halfway through mine.
I'm so sorry, Tara. I didn't mean to.
Nah, forget it. It's seriously okay. The whole thing is ancient history now.
That isn't a lie. I feel a hell of a lot better about the whole thing now that I know I'm doing way better than any of them. I can tell Morgan doesn't buy it though. Better switch up the subject.
Anyway, after that, the two of us were inseparable all through high school. We even picked the same college so it'd be easier to stay in touch. The only time our friendship was ever on the rocks was... well, maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
Hard to grin when I see Morgan's eyes widen. Got him.
You wouldn't say that if you weren't going to tell me.
Well, I don't know.
She leaves her mug on the table and moves closer to me. I definitely saw her smile for a second there.
The Tara I know would never pass up a chance to tell a story.
Well, if you insist. Maddie and I actually dated once, for a few weeks, back when we first started college. Everyone we knew was pairing off, so we figured we should try it too. It's our secret shame.
Tara's getting all the bitches.
I'm not surprised. You two would make a terrible couple.
Geez, blunt much? You're not wrong, though. It nearly killed our friendship. Thankfully, we called it off and went back to being friends. We haven't had any trouble since.
Until now.
Yeah, until now.
So much for lightening the mood.
I don't know. I guess her deciding to walk away from everything we built together doesn't exactly make me feel jazzed about our friendship.
Her having different priorities doesn't have anything to do with friendship.
Morgan out here speaking facts.
What, like going back to school? She hated school. So either that's some bullshit excuse, or she just hates working on Terranormal even more.
She was talking about coming back. Having real proof seems to have changed her mind.
And then what? She goes along with it for another few months and gets sick of it? I can't deal with that again.
I can tell I'm getting louder, but I don't care. I haven't had a chance to let any of these out since it happened. Morgan, of course, doesn't even flinch.
The thing is...
Now she's acting like she wants to be in on the action again? Am I really supposed to believe that she wants to commit to this?
But she...
I'm not an idiot. It's not like I'm ignoring the fact that she keeps running off to the woods to be by herself. I'm supposed to just be cool with that?
Tara!
I'm so sick of all this bullshit. Maybe I'd just be better off without her.
Tara!
I jump as her voice drowns mine out completely. This burst of emotion isn't funny. It's honestly kind of terrifying.
Stop. Just stop. You have no idea what you're talking about. You don't want Maddie to leave the show, but you're refusing to listen to her when she talks about coming back. You don't want to lose your friendship, but you're freezing her out when she tries to make connections again. I love your show. You know I do. But there are more important things in your life than talking about Bigfoot in front of a camera.
Holy shit, what the hell was that? She just shot for my bullshit like some kind of forest-wearing therapist. How am I supposed to respond to that? All I can do is sit down on the bed and let it wash over me. She sits down next to me and takes my hand in hers. She gives that little squeeze and I squeeze back. I can already feel myself starting to calm down. When Morgan speaks again, her voice is back to its normal flatness.
Talk to her. Tell her how you feel and what you need. You can't spend your whole time with me and expect her to feel appreciated.
I don't want to leave you out, though. You're the whole reason we're here. Plus, like, I really like spending time with you.
I do too. But we'll have plenty of time together. You're here for an entire month.
Yeah, of course.
The word month makes me feel a weird pang in my chest. For some reason I don't want to think about how temporary this is. I let go of her hand to take another sip of coffee. It's barely lukewarm now, and I consider just spitting it back into the cup. That definitely wouldn't be a good look though.
Do you want me to take you back to the cabin?
I think I'm gonna do a little more investigating here first. Give myself some time to think about what I want to say to Mads.
That's a good idea.
Hey, first time for everything.
She lets out another little laugh. It's not nearly as big as her earlier one, but it's really nice to hear it after all that heavy stuff.
I'll go set up shop then. Come see me when you want to ride back.
You got it.
I stand and stretch, scanning the room one more time to see if I'm forgetting anything.
Wait, are those my panties?
Yeah, you're wearing mine.
I try to will myself not to blush, determined not to let her get the one more fluster in.
Shit, sorry. I can change real quick.
It's fine. You can wear them. Just give them back when you're done.
My cheeks are burning again. So much for that.
Oh, cool. Thanks. I guess I'll see you later then.
Sure. You know where to find me.
Without thinking, I lean forward and press my lips against hers. They're soft. Somehow not early, dried out by the cold air as mine are. Wait, what am I doing? Wait, why am I doing this? I turn my head away, expecting to be met with an angry glare, but all I see is the corners of her mouth twitch up for a split second before she's back to neutral. Could be worse, right? Either way, it's definitely time for me to get the hell out of here. I head for the door, but something stops me before I can actually leave.
Thank you.
Anytime.
I don't know what I'm thanking her for. I'm not sure if she knows either. I'm out the door and back out into the village square, doing my best to leave my confusion behind me. I've got more important things to think about right now. I've got to think about what I'm going to say to Mads. Tell her I'm sorry for being an idiot, that I don't want this to screw things up. I don't want this to screw up things more than it already has. But as I think about it, I realize that I've got one more problem when it comes to her. If she finds out I slept with our host, she's gonna kill me. Get Morgan's perspective. Let's fucking go. The cabin comes into view. It's warm and casts a glow in the snow. I keep my steady pace. It's been a while since Tara and I talked. Things still aren't fixed. They've improved. She's getting Maddie's help filming now, but I can still see that distance between them. It doesn't help that Maddie keeps choosing to stay behind when we go to the village. Her excuses are always flimsy, but Tara doesn't push it. I'm not sure if she wants to. I'm not entirely sure what to do. I've never expected this to be easy, but now that it's gotten complicated in a way that I couldn't have predicted. I wish I could help, but I'm afraid that intervening more than I already have would make things worse. Maddie still doesn't trust me despite everything. I have to believe it's not too late. I need both of them fully committed before I can tell them why they're really here. At the cabin, I enter without knocking.
It again.
I've tried it like 6 times, Mads. I don't know what else you're expecting here.
Hello there.
We both look up from what they're doing. It's not a surprising scene. Tara's hunched over her laptop in the living room while Maddie stands nearby, looking ready to hit her. I don't think either of them noticed me entering.
Hi.
Hey!
While Maddie seems annoyed at my interruption, Tara seems genuinely happy. Whether that's for the distraction or because it's me, I'm not sure. I walk over and sit beside Tara, placing myself between her and Maddie.
Check this out.
She angles my laptop so that I can see it and presses play on a video. There's some distorted noise, but the screen stays black.
What am I supposed to be looking at?
Exactly.
Somehow exacerbated, Maddie throws up her hands and storms off into the kitchen. banging around the cupboards without actually doing anything.
This was the footage that we took the other night. Remember? With the spirit and stuff?
I remember.
Yeah, well, it was totally fine a few days ago. We watched it a billion times, so you know as well as I do.
Right. It was perfectly visible then.
But now...
She plays the clip again. Nothing but noise. It's worthless now.
So what happened?
Beats me. That's what we're trying to figure out.
Manny slams a cabinet particularly loudly.
What happened
What Maddie thinks happened.
is that the file got corrupted somehow. Either when you exported it or when it was transferring or something.
But it was working fine before. Seriously, ask Morgan.
She points at me. I wish you wouldn't bring me into this. Into it like this. Since I'll seem like I'm taking a side.
The video did work before, yes.
Great, that helps us a lot.
Isn't there a backup somewhere?
This was supposed to be the backup. I thought I'd uploaded it to our server too, but I guess the Wi-Fi cut out, and that didn't actually happen.
Tara bites her lip.
That one's on me.
I'm expecting another sardonic reply from Maddie, but to my surprise, she sits down across from us and sighs.
Well, we can't change it now.
It seems that Tara's admission of guilt, even partial, helped her calm down some.
Was that the only footage that was affected?
I didn't check. Can't see why anything else would be screwed up though. We just got unlucky. Super unlucky.
That's a bit of an understatement. Without that footage, we don't have anything to show.
I want to tell her there will be plenty more opportunities for filming the spirit, and like the other equally remarkable creatures, but I don't know that she won't believe me. I know that she won't believe me yet. I forgot how to pronounce her cat's name. Geladura warned me this would probably happen, as if I haven't already known, but Geladura already didn't help my case at all, since she said she didn't know if she could trust them yet. I wish she would have told me that before I made a fool of myself in front of them both. Tara laughed, but it sounded forced.
Guess we'll have to take some new footage then. Morgan, you don't have any other mystical spirits sitting around that we could film, do ya?
Funnily enough, I do. I just smile though, going along with the joke. For some reason, Maddie tugs at her collar and looks away out the window. Perhaps she's more uncomfortable around me than I thought.
Can I borrow your laptop? I'll see if I can move the file to my computer. And maybe salvage something.
You really think that'll work?
No, but I'd like to try.
Sure thing.
She shifts the laptop over to me and passes it to Maddie.
Thanks. I'll be in my room. Let me know if you need anything.
She leaves, taking Tara's laptop with her. She pushes her bedroom door, but doesn't close it all the way. Beside me, Tara places her hand over mine. It's not anything that Maddie would be able to see from her room. I'm not sure why Tara is so insistent on keeping our relationship a secret. Still, I appreciate the gesture. Other thing that's happening since the two of them arrived, getting close to Tara like this has certainly been the most unexpected.
It seems like things are a bit better between the two of you. Did you talk?
I make sure to keep my voice low.
Not yet. I was going to, but first Nats wasn't home, then she was shut in her room all day when she got back. I was going to bring it up today, but then all this stuff happened.
At least the two of you are talking a little. She must be feeling bad too.
Maybe. You should have heard her before you got here, though.
I'm sorry.
Nah, don't be. It's like you said, this is on both of us.
You really don't know what happened to the footage? I promise I won't tell Maddie anything.
Nope, it's 100% legit. It was working fine, and then it wasn't. I didn't even drop my computer or spill water on it this time.
That's so strange.
You're telling me. Mads is convinced I did something to screw it up, though.
I have a niggling suspicion in the back of my mind, but I don't want to bring it up yet. I want to alarm Tara if I can help it.
Has anyone...
Right in the middle of my sentence, the heater in the corner of the room starts making a sizzling noise and dies. Tara and I both stare at it.
Did you see that?
I did.
God!
Clutching her head in her hands, Tara gets up and goes to inspect the heater. She looks around underneath it, although it's clear she has no idea what she's actually looking for. While her back is turned, I take a moment to peer out the window, scanning for anyone or anything out of the ordinary. I don't see anything.
What happened?
Heater died. Check it out.
Wait, you're kidding me.
I wish.
Already the cold is starting to set in.
Was it a short circuit or something?
I'm glad she doesn't default to blaming Tara for this. My suspicion gets a little stronger too.
No clue. Morgan and I were sitting here when it suddenly died. Didn't give any warning or anything. It was a lot like the...
She trails off. She doesn't need to finish the sentence. I'm sure we're all thinking the same thing.
like the footage.
She says it anyway. None of us say anything. Then Maddie chuckles nervously.
That's a pretty weird coincidence.
Do you two think that, like, they're connected somehow?
What, the heater and the footage? There's no way that could be. It's just bad luck.
Maybe.
She gives me a look that says she doesn't think it's random. I'm inclined to agree.
Any luck with saving the video so far?
Not yet, but I just started. Give me a bit.
Right. I'm gonna go grab a blanket. You want one, Morgan?
No thanks.
What the hell?
2 seconds after she entered the bedroom, Tara yells and pops back out.
The heater in my room is dead too!
What?
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. Come look if you want.
Maddie and I both hurry into Tara's room. Sure enough, the heater in here is as dead as the one in the living room.
Were they on the same breaker? This cabin must have ancient wiring, right?
No, it was renovated a couple years ago.
Is the one in your room still working, Mads?
Without waiting for an answer, Tara pushes past me and goes to look, ignoring Maddie's feeble clamor against the barge again. We follow Tara yet again. In Maddie's room, the heating is running. Heater is running fine.
That's so unfair!
Maddie frowns too, looking perplexed.
I don't get it. Why just in here?
That's a pretty weird coincidence.
Tara does a poor imitation of Maddie's voice.
It is! What else do you want me to say?
Grumbling, Tara leaves the room without giving an actual answer. Maddie doesn't try to stop her and stares at her perfectly functional heater. Shut the bedroom door behind me as I leave.
Okay, tell me I'm not crazy. Something weird is going on.
You're not crazy. This definitely isn't a coincidence.
You say that like you know what's going on.
I can feel a pit opening in my stomach. I've never been good with words. I'm not sure how to phrase everything. I'm able to tell her. I'm about to tell her. I've never been good with words, and I'm not sure how to phrase everything I'm about to tell her, much less how she'll take it. I must struggle for too long because I can see Tara's expression go from mopey to concerned.
Hey, you okay? I was just kidding, but like, do you actually know what's up?
I press her finger to my lips and point to Tara's room. Her eyes go wide. She nods. I lead the way, with her following close behind me.
We can talk now.
Tara looks like she's going to explode.
Now? What the hell? That was like something out of a spy movie.
Shh, not so loud.
I listen for any indication that Maddie's following behind us or is eavesdropping, but her door never opens. Tara watches, waiting for me to elaborate, but I can tell that it's taking every ounce of self-control she has not to barge me with questions. It's understandable.
Okay, bear with me, because I'm not sure how to say some of this.
Nearly vibrating with excitement, Tara nods, taking a deep breath.
I don't think that all these malfunctions are a coincidence. I think they're intentional sabotage, and that my mother's to blame.
Her eyes get as wide as saucers.
Your mom?
Yes, and I also think that Maddie might be involved too. It's not her fault at all. I'm afraid that my mother might have gotten to her first. She might not even know it.
So she is crazy.
Gotten to her how?
As in, she's not in control of her actions. She might not even be aware of them.
What?
You mean like mind control?
More or less, yes.
She stares at me, then starts to laugh. She gets up and paces around the room, her hand flying in useless motions as she laughs.
Okay, you're screwing with me, right? Mind control. Maddie!
I'm not messing with you. I'm dead serious.
I can't blame her for being incredulous. It's a lot to take in at once, and the rest of what I have to say to a stranger. But if there's anyone who believes me, who will believe the truth. It's Tara. Her laughing becomes a whistle as she calms down. She seconds to compose herself, then sits on the bed next to me.
Okay, mind control. Go on.
Like I said, I doubt Maddie's even aware. It's probably more like sleepwalking for her, but it would make sense. You said she's been spending a lot of time away from the cabin, right? And that she doesn't like to talk about where she's been. Plus the footage being damaged, and then the heaters dying. It makes sense.
You're gonna have to sell me on this more. I wouldn't say that makes sense. What's the point of it? Why would your mom do that? And how? Like we haven't even approached the point of making sense.
I know. I'll explain.
I'm trying to remain calm myself, but there's a nervousness that I've never felt before. This is the first time I'm ever talking about this with someone else. No matter how many times I'd imagine this conversation or rehearse it in my head, it's nothing like real life.
My mom isn't really my mom. To be frank, she's not even human. Not anymore.
I pause, waiting to see how Tara takes it. No reaction. I doubt that anything I'm saying is even registering as a possibility to her. The only choice is to go through it all and hope that she believes me in the end.
The person you've met, the creature, is something else, using a human woman's body as a host. She has the whole town under a glamour that makes them loyal to her, and she has for years. Longer than I've been alive. I think she has Maddie now, too. The reason that I sent you an email and invited you to Eisenfeld isn't because of the forest spirit or any of that other stuff, although it's related too. The reason is because I need your help. Evelyn, or the thing inside her, is going to try to kill me soon, to use me as a new host. Within the next few weeks. You were the only people in the world who I could think of who might believe me. There wasn't anyone else I could ask. She knows that too, which is why she's trying to get rid of you now. Ruin your trip, make you want to leave. She would never hurt either of you. Too many people would notice if something happened. There'd be way too much unwanted attention on her. But if she could get the two of you to leave Eisenfeld, then she'd be able to proceed with her plans. I'm pretty sure that's what she's trying to do, through Maddie. That's it, I guess.
Finished speaking, I look down at my legs. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my chest. If nothing else, I'm glad to get to tell someone. Even if nothing changes, at least I got to share my story. If she doesn't believe me, if she thinks I'm crazy if she thinks I'm as crazy as Maddie does, then I'm out of options. The silence stretches on, and I glance up at Tara's face. For someone usually so expressive and easy to read, her face is immutable. I can't tell what she's thinking. She just stares at me intensely, more scrutinizing than I've ever seen her before. I meet her eyes, willing her to search mine and see I'm telling the truth. I want to reach across and grab her hand. More than that, I want her to grab mine. Tara huffs, blowing a loose strand of hair from that had fallen over her face. She blinks, popping her knuckles, scratching her leg. Then finally, she half smiles.
Okay, so then what do we do now?
Does that mean that you believe me?
My breath catches in my throat, scarcely daring to believe it. She hasn't confirmed it yet. She could just be playing along.
Of course I do.
Can't help myself. I lean forward and wrap my arms around her in a very selfish hug.
I'm so sorry for dragging you into all of this.
She doesn't deserve any of what's going on. I brought her into my own world of problems. Her arms wrap back around me without hesitation.
Hey, I'm glad you did.
Really?
Of course! If some other paranormal blog got this scoop, I'd be jealous forever.
We both laugh.
But I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot to take in, especially the stuff about Mads. But if never coming here would have meant you having to deal with all this on your own, then it's a damn good thing we're here.
For the first time that I can remember, I feel warm and comfortable. It's a moment that I wish it could last forever. I don't deserve her support, but I'm glad that I have it.
Now let's go kick your mom's ass!
I laugh again. I'm glad she's able to keep a light heart through it all. We're going to need it.
Really though, what do we do now? Pack our stuff and get out of here? You could totally crash with me and Mads. I'm sure she wouldn't mind. You'd have to get past that whole mind control thing first though.
No. Running away isn't an option. She would just take someone else instead. She has to be dealt with.
Are they planning murder? They gonna murder her mother?
You said it'll happen in a couple weeks, right? How do you know?
It'll happen on the winter solstice. It's something to do with the moon. I don't really know the specifics myself. There's not a whole lot of information to go off.
You're in luck, because investigating stuff without a real lead is my speciality.
She's incongruable, and her smell is infectious. Her optimism and confidence make me think this might work out okay after all.
There'll be plenty of time for that, I promise. Right now, I should head back home.
Already? Feels like you just got here a bit ago.
I know. I wish I could stay longer, but I need to start preparing right away. There's a lot that I'll need to fill you in on, but it'll take some time for me to get ready.
So, like, later tonight?
Probably tomorrow or the next day.
Okay, I'll lie low until then. What should we do about...
Her voice trails off and she nods in the direction of the rest of the cabin, and Maddie.
Nothing for now. Just try to act normal around her if you can.
So avoid conversation as much as possible. Easy peasy.
We stand up together and Tara walks me to the front door.
So, see you soon, I guess?
Right.
She leans forward and suddenly gives me another quick hug, my second one today, and it's over far too quickly.
Cool, I'll be waiting.
I smile.
Me too.
It's always scary going home and facing the prospect of seeing Evelyn face to face. Today, though, it doesn't seem as bad. There's still a long way to go, but with Tara's help, there's a chance everything will work out. That's more than I've ever been able to say before. The skies are grey out when I wake up. Check my phone for the time, thinking it must still be early. But no, it's almost 10. It's the clouds that are making it so dark. We're definitely in for a lot of snow today. It looks like it could be more than any of the previous storms. Sighing to myself, I get out of bed and get dressed without wasting any time. There's no way I'm going to be able to see Abigail today, not with the weather as it is. I hope she won't wait for me. It's frigid in the living room. I spent a while trying to fix the heater, but to no avail. I don't even know what's wrong with it. Tara must have had it pretty rough though. Too. At least she could bundle up in blankets to keep warm. The door to her room is shut, so she's either gone or still asleep. I'm glad that things have improved between us. She seems to have changed of heart or something. So a couple of days ago, she started making small talk again. Even our arrangement over the footage wasn't as explosive as it could have been. If it had happened 3 days prior, we probably wouldn't be on speaking terms at all anymore. I made myself a bowl of cereal and have a quiet breakfast alone. Although I've gotten used to not interacting with Tara much, there was still my visits with Abigail to look forward to. Now there's no telling how many days it'll be until the weather clears up enough for me to go see her again. Hopefully it'll blow over quickly. It's already starting to snow a little. Just to pass the time, I move my laptop out into the living room and start an episode of a show I've been meaning to watch. Keep one headphone out so that I'll be able to hear if Tara leaves her room. She never does. After 2 episodes, I get up and knock on her door. Unsurprisingly, there's no answer. Take a quick peek inside. Empty. She must be at Morgan's again. At this point, it's pretty obvious that they're more than friends. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's none of my business, of course. They're both adults who can do whatever they want, but can't help but feel a little envious. It's been more than a year since I've been on a date. Things end sort of messily with my last girlfriend, and since then I haven't really been looking. Working on the show kept me busy enough. Still, it wasn't that I was trying to avoid meeting anyone new. It just didn't happen. I'm not like Tara. I can't talk to strangers and carry a conversation straight away. Business stuff, sure. Small talk, no. No way. I've always been a bit jealous of that. I've never related to a fictional character more in my life. God damn it. So, seeing how quickly and how naturally Morgan and Tara ended up together feels like a painful reminder of my own social inadequacy. I guess there's an expiration date on that relationship, whatever it may be, though. It's hard to believe that we're already halfway through our trip to Eisenfeld. Already halfway through? Jesus Christ. Also, same girl, same. It occurs to me that I'm in a similar situation with Abigail. Though our friendship is nothing like Morgan and Tara's. It's also time limited. That thought hurts more than I expected to. I wish there was some way she could come back with us. I wonder how difficult it is to smuggle a ghost internationally. That's the kind of problem Tara would be great at solving if she was around. In fact, I wonder if I should take this as an opportunity to try to mend things with her. Assuming Abigail was okay with it, I could take Tara to meet her. While not quite as dramatic as the Forest Spirit, having a genuine ghost on film would still be a huge win for the show. It's a little funny to me that an actual ghost is mundane compared to what we've seen. I'm not entirely convinced on the idea. There's still some appeal to keeping the news to myself for at least a little bit longer. A knock at the front door interrupts my TV watching.
Coming!
Oh, it's her again. Under the latch, you come face to face with Evelyn again.
Good afternoon.
Hi there.
My previous encounter with her on the way back to the church flashed through my mind and set me on edge. There's a man I don't recognize with her too, adding to my unease.
We heard there was an issue with the heater, so we've come to fix it. Don't want you freezing to death out here.
Her demeanor is a 180 from last time. I wonder which of them let her know. Maybe Tara mentioned it earlier today?
Oh, thanks. That'll be a big help.
Aren't you going to let us in?
I realize that I'm blocking the doorway and step back to make room. It's technically her cabin. I don't really have a right to say no.
Yeah, sorry.
The guy with her brushes past me and hits the heater, getting right to work. Meanwhile, Evelyn and I both sit in the living room. I stare at the floor, hoping that she'll start the conversation. She seems content to just look around the room, admiring the decorations. When she clears her throat, I flinch.
I'm very sorry for the discomfort it must have caused. Even a single night without the warmth can be most unpleasant.
She stares at me intensely, like she's hoping me to catch some hidden meaning. Whatever it is, it's lost on me.
It's fine. It was just one night. Thanks for taking care of it so fast.
Of course. Are you the only one home today?
Yeah. Tara's out.
Can't imagine that Evelyn doesn't know about her and Morgan, or at least the two of them have been spending so much time together. She and Morgan live in the same house after all. But Evelyn's eyebrows raise.
Is she now? My daughter said your friend was here. She wouldn't be foolish enough to venture into the woods on her own, would she? The weather's looking quite dire.
My mouth goes dry. Even Tara wouldn't be that reckless, right?
I don't think so.
Good. Only a fool would go out in this.
As if on cue, a heavy gust of wind blows, making the whole cabin creak. Through the window, I can see the snowfall has already gotten thick, heavy flakes mask the glass and obscure the view outside. The workman finishes up and moves closer to the couch. He yet still hasn't said a word since he arrived.
Seems we're finished here. Do take care, Madison. And don't hesitate to call if you need help with anything else.
Will do. Thanks.
The two of them leave as abruptly as Morgan always does. The moment the door shuts behind them, I leap up and head for the landline phone. I don't know what that was about at all, but it's obviously something going on. There's more going on that I'm aware of, something sinister. There's a small scrap of paper jammed underneath the phone with Morgan's phone number scribbled on it. I dial and wait, praying the weather won't render the phones useless. It rings and rings and rings, but doesn't pick up. Eventually I go to a generic voicemail message delivered in an automated voice.
Damn it!
I slam the phone back to reset it, then dial again.
Please, please, please.
She's not there. She's not with Morgan, but I don't know what I'll do. I don't know where else she could be. On the third ring, the phone clicks and someone answers. It's garbled and hard to hear, lately because of the storm.
Morgan?
The person on the other line says something unintelligible.
Hello?
Just barely clear enough for me to hear my name.
Yeah, it's me. Hey, listen, is Tara with you?
There's another pause and some staticky noise and a beep as the line goes dead. Frantically, I hit the redial button. This time she picks up on the first ring.
Hey, it's me. Is Tara with you?
There's a noise, but I can't tell if it's her answering me or just interference.
Sorry, what?
Again, the only response is garbled nonsense. I try to talk to her for several more times, but nothing is intelligible. I don't even know if she can hear me. The call drops again, and this time I don't bother calling back. I try and send her an email, but it takes forever before the website loads enough for me to do that. I try to make myself calm down. Logically, she's got to be with Morgan. There's nowhere else she could be. Evelyn must have missed her somehow. I go to one of the windows, use my sleeve to brush away the fog that fills the glass. It's already a blizzard out there, snowing harder than anything I've ever witnessed. That's when I see her. Flash of red out by the tree line. Tara. She's just standing there. When she notices me, she waves. What the hell's wrong with her? Pound on the glass, pointing downwards to indicate she should come in.
Come inside, you moron! What are you doing?
I know she can't hear me, but she keeps waving. Then she turns and walks into the forest. What the hell? She's lost it. She's absolutely lost it. I fight against the wind just to open the door.
Tara!
My voice is shallowed by all the wind. There's no way she could hear me. I try yelling again, but the cold stings my throat. Is this some idea of a joke to her? It's a terrible one if so. Stepping out of the front door, I can barely hear her. I can barely see her amongst the trees and swirling snow, just standing there waiting for me. I linger, not sure what to do. I can't just leave her there, but going out in this would be asinine. She waves again, more urgently. Just a moment. Back. Kelly wants me to follow her. Maybe she needs my help. Maybe someone's injured. Still, the storm. Every second I'm out here, the cold seeps a bit further into me. I need to decide. Clench my fists. If nothing else, I know that Tara would come for me. Bracing myself to start walking towards her. It's nearly impossible just keeping my balance and remaining upright is a chore. Every step I take goes to the battle against nature. Slowly though, I do it. Once she sees that I'm following her, she starts walking again. I wish she'd wait for me to catch up so she could at least tell me what's going on. When I cross the tree line, the wind gets noticeably better, although the cold is no less bitter. Tara doesn't seem phased. She's still forging ahead, always in the distance, no matter how far I go. Close enough to see, but not close enough to hear. After a few more minutes, I finally start to inch closer to her. I can't feel my hands or my feet, and my teeth won't stop chattering. I need to stop her now. My mouth is shaking too much for me to form any coherent phrases. If I wasn't already genuinely scared, I am now. Then, without warning, Tara stops. She stands completely still, back towards me. Do my best to push forward, finally making my way to her.
Tara, we have to.
Give up on words, instead reaching out towards her. My fingers are numb and heavy. Before I can touch her shoulder, she turns around. My blood runs icy as my skin. Her face is completely smooth and featureless, like a mannequin. Her clothes, her hair, everything else are a perfect replica, but her face is an empty void. This isn't Tara, this isn't even human. A sharp taste of bile raises in my throat as I stumble back, her pulse as I stare in horror. She begins to flicker like a light bulb going out.
No.
This isn't real, this can't be real, this isn't happening, this can't be happening. Still flickering, the thing begins to move. Its shoulders start to shake as it rocks back and forth, tilting its head back slightly. It doesn't make a sound, but its intention is clear. It's laughing at me. I fall backwards, head scrambling through the snow that I can no longer feel. I scurry away from it as best I can, though it doesn't even try to follow me. It's just rocks celebrating its triumph. It just rocks celebrating its triumph over me. My shoulder smashes into something hard, sending a stinging pain through me. It's a tree. I try to stand up, but I've lost all sensation in my legs. My fingers scramble desperately, uselessly, as the hard earth and slick bark, but I can't find any purchase. I try to stand, and my feet slide from beneath me as I crash back to the ground. Each effort is harder than the last. I try several more times to stand, but I can't. Exhausted, I lie there, cheek pressed against the frigid ground. I can't even feel it. My face burns as it's buffeted with more and more snow. My thoughts run ragged. I know how hypothermia works, how fast it can set in surprisingly quickly. Surprisingly quickly I've read once. My body temperature only needs to drop a couple degrees to start shutting down. I can't muster the effort to move. Fake Tara is now gone. The space it occupied is empty. I'm alone. The realization crosses my mind, suddenly lucid. I'm going to die. This is the end. There is no after this. I've reached the end of my life. Snow accumulates over my body. What part I can feel burns. I'm grateful for those that can't. My breath has barely been a whispered vapor. I try to tell myself I'm wrong. Someone will find me. I can't die out here. I'm not some mountain adventurer. I'm not the kind of person this happens to. I can't freeze to death. I can't. I'm going to... What about Tara and BT, my family? I can't just leave them all behind because I ran too far into the woods. That's just not how this works. I try to push myself back up, but I can't move my arms, can't move anything. I should if my body allowed me, I'd be crying. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. My consciousness fades. Facing light that should be unpleasant but isn't shines in front of me. I allow my body to reach for it, but I can't. Then I understand this isn't meant for my hand to touch. I let go of it all, giving myself up. But then, a sound. Imperceptibly loud, deafeningly quiet. Something vibrant and full of life fills my tired eyes. It blocks the light. And then... It's Abigail, our girl! Abigail appears, look of shock on her face as she reaches out a hand to Maddie. An angel appears. Motherfucker. I'm going to keep reading. I'm fucking invested now. I'm not cold. I'm not warm either. I'm not anything. Not even sure I'm awake. All I can see is vast, profound darkness. I realize my eyes are shut. Are they frozen shut? Trying to move my arms toward my face, but those feel frozen too. With great effort, I manage to wrench my eyes open. I'm flat on my back. Right above me is a familiar carved wooden ceiling. The grey smudges in my peripheral vision are the pews that I sat and read with Abigail just days ago. I'm in the church. I try to remember how I got there, but all I have are glimpses of what happened. Waking up alone. The mayor dropping by unannounced. Following Tara. Not Tara. Even nearly immobile, a shiver creeps up my spine at the thought of that thing. And after that, it comes back to me as an avalanche, running, stumbling, and falling. Being so cold. I can recall the dread of it as it happened, as I gave up, when strength left my body and my eyelids couldn't bear being open any longer. But how did I get from there to here? There's a sound of rustling cloth from behind me, and I forced my head to turn to look. And there she is, warm, radiant, just an arm's length away. Abigail. I blink, expecting her to vanish, to be a figment of my imagination. But with my aching eyes open once more, she's still there. Worry wrinkles her face. She saved me, didn't she? There's no other explanation. I muster the strength to smile up at her. She smiles back, though it doesn't reach her eyes.
Hello, Medicine. I'm glad you're awake.
Oh shit, the baby speaks! In the otherwise silent church, her voice rings out like a bell, the first words I've ever heard her say. I can hear her. We can speak to each other. Understanding pierces through my exhaustion. With the understanding comes a whole cascade of realizations. A million feelings rush through me, and I don't know what order to process them. Two concepts stand out among everything else. The voice is lovely, soft and gentle like she is. I must be dead.
Abigail?
I'm about the only coherent thought I have. She slid from the bench that she was sitting on to the ground, kneeling on the floor beside me.
That's right. I'm here.
She leans over to me, the serene portrait of a heaven-sent angel. She's here. That can only mean one thing. My head doesn't hurt, my back isn't sore despite spending lying on the cold stone floor for hours. I can hear and speak with Abigail.
I died, didn't I? And you saved me and brought me back here?
She rubs her face, a painted look on it that she can't brush away.
You're not quite dead, but you're not alive either. Rather, you're somewhere between life and death. Like me. That's the best way I can put it.
I can tell that her tone is supposed to be optimistic, but to me she sounds entirely too cheerful for someone narrating my own demise. Still, I suppose this is better than the alternative.
Then, thank you.
Her smile just got a little bit smaller.
Please don't mention it. Really, I'm sorry that we hadn't been just a little bit faster. If we had arrived sooner...
She looks away, guilt twisting her face.
It's okay. It's not your fault.
Even in my adult state, I know that much. Shut my eyes, hoping this might be a dream, that when I open them, I'll be safe and sound in my bed at the cabin. I'm not, of course, there's nothing above me but stone. I force myself to sit up, the motion catches her attention, and Abigail lunges forward, ready to catch me if I fall.
Oh, don't strain yourself.
But there's still no pain or soreness. Instead, it's like each individual part of me was switched off, and I have to reactivate them. Maybe that's not far from the truth. Once I've sat up, I'm able to stand without any issue. Heaviness falls away like a blanket.
I think I'm okay.
To demonstrate, I pace back and forth a couple steps, feeling like I can stretch my legs. I reach out and flex my fingers, staring at their strange, glimmering transparencies. The whole time she watches intently, poised to intervene if anything goes wrong. Nothing does. I'm fine, relatively speaking. I look towards Abigail for approval with the most earnest smile I can muster. She visibly relaxes. I then sit down on one of the pews. Abigail sits beside me. It's bizarre. Despite years of existential dread, I don't know how to feel about my own past tense death. Well, Abigail did say that it's not quite death, it's just not exactly life either. Obviously, it's got to be a bit more complicated than that, but right now it's helping to soften the blow a little bit. I look down at my hands. They're normal and clean, not bloating and turning purple like in the last few moments. The rest of me seems similarly plain, otherwise I was well preserved. Apparently I was well preserved. There's one difference I wonder about though. I press my finger to the stone we're sitting on, or at least I try to. My hand just passes through it. It doesn't feel like anything. Right. Next to me, Abigail does the same thing, presses her hand in up her wrist. Pressing her hand in up to her wrist. She giggles and my heart skips a beat.
I'd forgotten how it feels at first. It's kind of wondrous.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Once you get used to it, it's really quite convenient. It'll just take a bit of time.
Abigail stands and gives me a huge smile, probably not realizing how scary that thought is to me. I don't really want to spend however long it takes to get used to it like this. But she's clearly excited to talk. I am too, regardless of the circumstances. So I won't spoil the moment yet.
How long has it been since then? Since I... you know...
Even thinking of the word died causes my throat to constrict with terror. It's not death, I remind myself. I can feel afraid when I can't feel... If I can feel afraid, then I can't be death.
It's been over a day. You've been
unconscious this entire time. I was afraid that perhaps I'd done it wrong, that you might not ever wake up.
But here I am.
I can see her eyes sparkle with tears. Despite the fact that I'm standing right here, even the thought of my demise almost makes her cry.
Yes, here you are.
How did you do it? I remember thinking that I was going to die, for sure.
She looks away from me, fidgeting with her dress.
As I said, we arrived too late to save your life. The cold had already set in, and you were so far from home. But we were able to save your spirit, your soul, the important part of you. And that's what you are now.
A spirit?
She nods.
That's what you are too, right?
Another nod.
Exactly.
Her voice is gleeful. I can tell that she's excited by this. I can't blame her. There are 200 years of solitude, I'm sure that I would be too. But for me, well, this is the nightmare wrapped in irony. Came to Eisenfeld as a skeptic, and now I am this. It's so overwhelming. What will my parents say, or my friends back home? What about everything else I left behind? I've never prepared a will or anything like that. I don't know what to think, what to feel. I suppose I should be grateful that I'm not truly dead, but at the same time, I don't know what I'm missing out on. Maybe it would have been preferable. I wish I could have at least said goodbye, especially to Tara. There's so much left unsaid. Wait, Tara. With a jolt, I turn to Abigail. She flinches as suddenly I move.
Do you know if Tara's safe? My friend, the one who came here with me. I thought I was following her into the woods, but it was...
The image of that fake Tara comes to mind, and with a wave of dread, the memory of it is repulsive simply in how false it was, how unnatural.
She's fine. As far as I know, she was never in any danger at all. I'm so sorry, Madison. You were tricked.
Right.
I relax a little bit. Tricked.
Tricked by... by whom?
Abigail looks uncomfortable once more.
I'm not sure what name she uses now. The mayor of the village. Whatever you know her as.
So she is actually evil.
Evelyn.
So she's responsible. Not surprised in the least. The way she always seemed like a snake, coiled and ready to pounce. The bad feeling I got every time I interacted with her. She must have come by the cabin just to scope me out. She had probably been planning this all along. I shudder.
Who is she really? Why would she want to kill me?
I'll explain it later, but I promise you don't have to worry about her anymore.
Clearly that's supposed to make me feel better, but it doesn't. Yeah, she's not a threat to me. She's not a threat anymore, but only because she succeeded. I want to understand. I need to understand. Why would she want me dead? I guess I'll find out in time.
I just have one other question. Earlier, when you were talking about saving me, you kept saying we. Who else?
Now her eyes regain that previous mischievous gleam that I've started to recognize on her.
Someone special. I'll take you to meet them if you feel you're ready for it.
I think so.
There's nothing to be accomplished by sitting around feeling sorry for myself right now. I spent enough of my time in Eisenfeld doing that as it is. Plus, I'm curious to see who might have helped Abigail. Who else could have known about her this whole time, yet kept her a secret? I stand up and absentmindedly offer a hand to Abigail to help her up too. She takes it, then drops it immediately. Eyes wide and awestruck, she stares at it as if I'd sprouted a tentacle from my arm. Tears spring to her eyes, seeping out to form a thin river down her face.
What is it? What's wrong? Did I hurt you?
Your hand. I can feel it.
She's right. It hadn't even registered as different to me. But for the first time since we met, I can actually touch and feel her there. She grabbed my hand again, not standing. She closed her eyes as her fingers roll over mine, taking in the sensation. With anyone else, anyone on Earth, I'd be awkward, but somehow Abigail, I don't mind. It's a little endearing, in fact. After a moment, she realizes what she's doing. With a yelp and sheepish expression, she lets go.
I'm sorry, Madison. I just got so carried away for a moment.
It's fine. Really.
My skin still tingles with the feeling, vivid because of the absence of anything else. Abigail also gets to her feet without my help. Together we face the doors of the church. They look like they've been untouched since I was last here with Morgan and Tara. I wonder how they're taking it. I wonder if they even know yet that I'm gone. Quite possible Tara hasn't even come by the cabin. It could be days before she knows. Push those thoughts out of my head, though. It doesn't make a difference at this point. I'm still alive and cognizant, at least in some capacity, and as long as that's true, there's a hope that maybe I can get out of this situation. All I can do is hope and learn. Swallow my fear as much as I can and take the first step towards the door.
Should we go meet your friend then?
It's calm outside, and the day or so that's passed, the weather seems to have also mellowed out. A thick layer of fresh snow coats everything, looking fluffy and inviting. A few clouds darken the sky overhead, but are nothing compared to the maelstrom that I got caught in. The occasional flakes that fall seem serene, not threatening. Of course, they pass right through me. Abigail leads me into the woods. Try not to pay attention to how I can't hear her footsteps in the snow, or how I can't hear my footsteps in the snow, or how the cold doesn't bother me. It's convenient, sure, but it's wrong. Two of us walk side by side, deeper and deeper into the forest. This will be the furthest I've ever gone, since previously I'd never passed the church. Just like Morgan a few nights ago, Abigail seemed to know exactly where she's going.
Abigail, can you tell me a bit about what it's like now? Being a ghost and all.
Abigail's face lights up and she claps her hands together. Her steps become an eager skip.
Of course! I'd be happy to.
She clearly means it.
Where to begin? I found it to be quite convenient personally. As I said before, we're not ghosts per se, or at least not in the conventional way. Which is to say, we're not dead. It's more like we're somewhere between life and death. You and I are now fundamentally bound to the forest and to everything else in it. In the forest, everything is connected.
She frowns deeply, puffing out her cheeks.
This is harder than I thought.
I laugh. I guess even after centuries, she never expected she'd have to explain all this to someone.
It's fine. Take your time.
Everything in the forest is connected. The trees, the grass, the birds, the foxes, everything. And that includes you and I, too.
Connected? How?
Abigail chews her lip as she tries to think of how to explain it. Her frown returns deeper than before. Finally, she just shrugs.
Magic.
Magic?
That makes sense.
Pleased, Abigail nods. As I don't know what to think, I've only just woken up. I don't know how long it'll take me to process everything and accept her, or if I even will. Everything she says makes sense on a conscious level. I'm sure I could ace a test if someone were to ask me questions about it. But when I stop to think about how it affects me, about how there are now the restrictions and limitations that bind me, I stumble over nothing and clutch my chest, feeling sick, but it's an impotent gesture. It doesn't help me feel any better. How can I be dead? How does this happen to me, of all people on Earth? This isn't fair, this isn't fair. I never wanted any of this, I never even wanted to be here. I can't keep my thoughts up from spiraling. Every time I try and think about it, I just met with memories of dying and fear of myself for the future and what it might hold. Abigail rushes over, rubbing my back as she croons in my ear.
Madison, it'll be all right, I promise. I know it's a lot to take in, but it'll be okay. I'm here for you. I'm here.
I'm here. She repeats those words over and over, stroking my back until the moment passes. Dizziness fades in waves, and I slowly stand back up. My little episode must have lasted seconds at most, but it felt so long.
Madison, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine now. Or at least better. Thanks.
Her hands don't leave my back.
Are you sure? We don't have to keep going right now. We could save this for another day.
I brush away the notion.
It's fine. Let's just keep going. If I just sit and do nothing, I'm sure I'd feel even worse.
If you're sure.
We resume our trek. Silence drags on for a while. Abigail shoots me glances every now and then, as if I'll disappear if she looks away for too long. In a morbid way, it's kind of funny. I looked at her the same way not too long ago. She was bright and radiant, and I'm dead, I guess. Brings a question to the forefront of my mind.
Earlier,
Abigail stops. I try to avoid eye contact.
you said something earlier about Terra. How it wouldn't be possible for Terra to even see me.
Correct.
She speaks with measured words. As to how excited she's been, she's visibly holding herself back, like any wrong word would set me off again. It's not too far from the truth.
But I was able to see you, even before all of this happened. So why couldn't she see me?
Abigail lightens up, and a look of pride beams across her
That
face.
was projection. I've had a lot of practice. I'd be happy to teach it to you too, but it took me some time to learn.
I see.
Decades. Abigail laughs, nervously trying to hide her slip. We lapse into an uneasy silence again. I take deep breaths, trying to distract myself from the hundreds of questions weighing on my mind, but my breath feels empty. The lack of cold wind glaringly absent if I focused on it. So I focus on Abigail. She leads the way confidently. A passive smile rests on her face, and she looks more at ease now than I've ever seen anyone before. Every step she takes seems to push us forward, further than any natural pace. The words she said earlier replay in my head, about how the forest will help to take us to our destination. We pass through a tree, but when I look back, it's meters away, if not out of sight completely. Magic. Being able to simply pass through any obstacle we encounter makes the walk much easier. Even so, I automatically step over debris or turn my shoulder completely to avoid scraping the trunk of a tree when I can. I feel the heaviness in my chest start to fade as we trek on. Abigail catches my glances and smells warmly. I smell back genuinely now.
Did you spend much time in the forest when you were alive?
I did. However, I never traveled very far. Why do you ask?
I was just thinking about how you know your way around so well. It kind of reminds me of the girl I met here in the village, Morgan.
I've had plenty of time to see it all. It's simple too, once you know how to do it. As long as you know where you're going, the forest will guide your way there. I'm certain you'll get the hang of it someday.
I force an agreeable smile. In spite of everything, talking feels good. Talking about anything, so I try to keep the conversation going.
What was Eisenfeld like back then?
Much the same as it is today, as far as I can tell. Quiet and isolated. We rarely had any visitors. Even news of the outside world, or the rest of the country, was slow to arrive. But I longed for it. For the stories that would occasionally make their way to us. Sometimes friends of my father would head into the city for a few weeks, taking the goods that we had grown and made to trade, and bringing back things we lacked. And they'd return with gifts for all of the children, my sister and I, or the little boy across the road. Gifts and stories about wondrous devices they'd seen, or about the marvelous people they'd met.
Steps slow and then come to a stop, and her eyes take on a far-off, dreamy look.
When I was alive, I always wished to see it for myself someday. Instead, I had to satisfy myself with books and with other people's stories.
Her voice trails off, ending with a hum of satisfaction, remembering something but not speaking of it. I wait quietly. It doesn't feel like the kind of moment I should be interrupting. Soon enough, she looks over at me with what I've come to think of her, their typical smile.
I'm sorry. I hadn't really thought about these things in a while.
It's okay. I hope they're not painful memories.
She shakes her head.
These ones aren't. What about you? There are so many things that I want to know, but I hardly know where to begin asking.
Abigail points to the sky, devoid of any clouds right now.
Machines soar overhead day and night, but I've never known what they are. Or watching as Eisenfeld becomes more modern, but not understanding. I want to understand.
She looks at me expectantly, to quickly rattle off all the major inventions since her time and how they've changed our lives. The way the corners of her eyes glimmer with tears, it's clear just how badly she wants to know. Must be horribly frustrating. She mentioned machines overhead. She must mean airplanes and satellites. How unbelievable would it sound to her that enormous metal craft can fly through the air and carry hundreds of people? Or about cars and how just about everyone owns one. Another 200 years and then some just to catch her up on what she's missed. And thinking about that for just a second, I feel like maybe I understand her loneliness a little bit better. Abigail quickly straightens up, maybe realizing that she was being a bit childish. She adjusts her impeccable collar and dodges my eyes.
I'm sorry. Again. That can wait.
You're fine. I'm sure I'd feel the same way in your position. After we meet your friend, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Or at least everything I can. I'm not exactly the best storyteller, and I'm not very good at explaining why things work, but if that's still enough?
I phrase it like a question, even though I already know what her answer will be. Sure enough, she springs towards me, skipping past like a stone.
Oh, would you? I'm sure you're wonderful at telling stories. I could tell from the way you read to me back at the church. Do you remember?
Like I could forget. That's a day I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Is it? Why's that?
She crowds up closer to me now. To be honest, she reminds me a bit of a film camera, zooming in, then out, then leaping past to focus on something else.
Well, that was the first day that we spent time together, right? And that's when you showed me your name.
Abigail goes very still. Several times she looks like she's on the verge of saying something, her mouth fluttering or half gesturing something, but each time she stops.
I suppose it was. I just didn't realize it was that significant to you.
Of course it was. That day changed everything for me.
I bit my tongue for saying more. Things didn't exactly change for the better. Deeper and deeper we go, and the forest gradually grows quieter. The rustling of creatures underfoot get less and less frequent, and then stop entirely. The birds chatter less and then none at all. Even the wind settles down. Abigail is the only one who doesn't act any differently. She still hums to herself or glances over her shoulder to make sure I'm still there. Like I have anywhere else to go. As we get further into the woods, the snow is thinner and some places are totally without it. There are even a few patches of green, something that I'm pretty sure shouldn't even be possible given the weather. The trees, which have been growing catastrophically close together, start to spread out a bit more. I gasp when I see what's ahead of us. A grove of immense trees, larger than any I've ever seen before, lie before us, like the redwoods back in America. They're so huge as to seem to be holding up the sky. Totally befert of snow, a few defiant branches still hold leaves. They cast shadows over Abigail and I, and everything around us. An aura of light pervades the area. My skin prickles, the sensation is vivid, running up my arms like a spark. More than the church, where we are now feels like a holy place, something sacred and primal. As we pass by, I have the distant feeling I'm being watched from all sides. The back of my neck is slick with sweat, and I brush my forehead as the pressure of being observed starts to hit me harder.
What is this place?
I don't mean to, but my voice comes out as a whisper.
We're at the center of the forest now. These trees are the oldest ones here. They're the ancestors of all the rest. All of the life in the forest comes from here.
I believe it. There's quite a vibrance to this place. I walk a bit slower, feeling as if I don't want to cause a disturbance. I trail behind Abigail, who seems totally indifferent to the atmosphere. It makes sense, she's probably used to it, and this place's luster is worn off her. I can't help but gape. For the snow that I've gotten so used to elsewhere, this feels like a wholly different place, another world altogether. Abigail leads me around one of the massive trees, and my jaw drops even further. There, crouched in a small clearing, is the forest spirit from the other night, the same one that stood in the storm and scared the hell out of Tara and me. Somehow, it's much smaller than it was then, though still several feet taller than me. Yet one look into its piercing red eyes, and I know it's the same. It has been looking away, but turns to face us. Its body creaks and crackles as it moves, like an old door rattling in the wind. My breath catches in my throat as I fight down the instinctive rising terror. Pocks and scars decorate the bark that forms its skin. Though it has a vaguely human form, its body is clearly wooden. Little trees wind together, interlocking to shape its body. It regards me with a kind of indifferent stare, similar to when we first witnessed it at the church. The impossible red glow of its eyes is subtle now, and the previous winding and dying trees look more like its body is merely hugging itself. I look to Abigail to see her reaction, but she just watches the two of us with a slight smile, waiting to see what happens. That's when it hits me.
This is your friend?
That's right.
She acts as plainly as if she just introduced me to a fellow human, not a mystical creature. Abigail leaves my side to get to the spirit, and she nods her head up against it it's up against its side like a cat.
This spirit is the guardian of the forest. It helped me save you, just like it saved me long ago.
It shifts slightly to accommodate her, standing a little bit taller. It makes no vocalizations though, nothing close to speech.
I see.
I don't really. Visions of his tall and imposing profile against the stormy sky really clashes with what's in front of me now. But still, I know she's telling me the truth. I take a fraction of a step forward, expecting it to bare its teeth or warn me off somehow. It doesn't react though.
Does it have a name?
If it does, I don't know it. I just think of it as the forest spirit.
Think back to how Morgan had first described it, as if the forest itself had come alive. I don't think she knew just how right she was. Its namelessness makes it feel even more wild and untamed. I can feel myself getting regarded and judged by it, and I'm tempted to turn tail and run. I force myself to look up and meet its gaze. When it stands still, it's unnervingly silent. It reminds me of a grotesque scarecrow in a sense. From my peripheral vision, I can see Abigail look between the spirit and I, probably wondering if she should say something more, or, knowing her, wondering what to say. I preempt her.
I've come to say thank you for intervening and for saving me. Abigail told me that you helped. I don't really know how I can ever repay you. I owe you my life. Or, well, whatever's left of it.
I'm not sure what I could even offer a supernatural tree spirit to begin with. Its eyes watch me impassively. I swallow the lump in my throat and keep talking.
I don't know what happens now either. I'm still getting used to all of this. But again, thank you.
Then, not knowing what else to do, I bow stiffly and step backwards. Stella doesn't react. The whole thing is awkward and uncomfortable, but as with everything else, I'm at a loss. I can't have a conversation with the thing, and the details feel exactly dead or sparse. It feels like a waste to have come all this way just for a few sentences. I'm not sure if it even understood those. It occurs to me that I have no idea how much the forest spirit knows, or even cares, about the affairs of humans. I guess I must care at least a little, since I'm here. The spirit turns its head to face Abigail, who smells and pats its side. She says something to it, but I'm too far away to hear what. Then, as wordlessly as ever, the spirit rises and lumbers off into the forest for a second acknowledgement. Abigail watches it go, then she turns and faces me with a bright smile.
So what did you think?
She has all the pride of a child with a new toy. I stare after the spirit, still barely visible between the trees.
I don't really know what I think. I'm part grateful, part terrified, part shocked. When I saw it before, I thought it had to be a monster or something. It just seemed so ferocious and huge that I assumed it was evil. So seeing it like that is weird.
It's certainly intimidating at first. When we first met, I was also rather fearful, but I quickly realized how kind and gentle it was, at least towards me.
I'm still brimming with curiosity over Abigail's own history. She made it clear that she doesn't want to tell me yet, and so I won't pester her about it.
Why wasn't it enormous this time?
It can make itself larger or smaller at will. The night that you saw it, it must have had a reason.
And you're able to talk to it? And understand it?
Not quite. I speak to it and it understands me, but it doesn't have any words or language. Some of its mannerisms I've picked up over time. We've had quite a long time to get to know each other after all.
Right.
Abigail walks over and links her arms around mine. I start all at touch, but more so how casual she is about it.
Ready to go back to the church? Unless you'd rather stay here, in the forest. I imagine you'd be more comfortable with walls and a roof around you for now, though.
Yeah, I would be. Let's go back.
Arm in arm, she leads the way back. Jesus Christ.
God damn it.
Right, I am going to save right here. And I've been streaming for way longer than I was expecting to. And I have 9 Discord notifications I haven't replied to. So I'm gonna end stream here. What a fucking roller coaster! I have so many fucking questions. They just killed. Are they gonna bring her back or something? They set up this whole fucking. They set up this whole fucking like character drama between Tara and Maddie, and then they just kill her, and then they can't talk, and she can't go home. He's just stuck with Ghost Girl forever. Fuck. I have so many fucking questions. The whole fucking story just went off the deep end, honestly. Right, okay. I might stream this tomorrow. If not, probably next Friday. I'm desperate to continue the story. I shall see you next time I see you. Either tomorrow. If I'm streaming either tomorrow or Friday, I'll say something on Twitter and Discord before I do. Bye.